Thank you very much. If you are able to, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Roll call, please.
Here.
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 Here. All right, thank you very much. Before we go to, well, actually, if we can get approval of the agenda and the addendum to the agenda.
Second.
Mr. Shelby. Go ahead. I can't hear you. The mic for the...
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of council, Martin Shelby, the City Council Attorney. You have some items on the addendum and some housekeeping matters that you might want to do as the approval of the agenda. And one of them may be to review the staff reports and see which staff members are also going to be needed to be present, otherwise to receive and file their
All right, thank you very much. I saw Mr. Rojero here, couple of items. So for item number 8, which has been pulled for discussion because it's a large dollar amount, Mr. Rojero, I don't want to keep you all day, so we'll get to you right before public comment to discuss it for a few minutes, and we can go ahead and get that out of the way at that time. And then item number 67, we're going to move up to item number 2. So after Commissioner Sharp and the Tampa Innovation Group speak, because we have somebody that's remotely joining the meeting, and because of time constraints and whatnot, we'll get that out of the way. Is there any other request for staff to be present on anything else? Or?
If we're going to receive and file the reports, I would just like to make a short comment about item number 74.
All right, go ahead.
well, or you could do that at number 74, but just not have staff present.
Okay. Do you need staff present for the
Carol's here,
comment?
so.
All right, well, go ahead and do it.
I just wanted to thank Carol, since Carol's here, I just want to thank her personally and thank the Chief of Staff and the Mayor and others. The Mayor, you all saw in the notes, the Mayor accepted the proposal to create a Economic Advisory Committee, and I just wanted to thank them for that. It's a really important opportunity, and as members of the community will be coming in later and talking to us about inequities in the community, pay inequities based on gender and race, and our poverty numbers, our housing numbers, and other issues. I think this committee will be very important in giving feedback to the to all of us to try to work on those issues. So again, thank you to Ms. Post and others, and the Mayor and others for doing that.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Shelby.
Just a confirmation, Council, before you approve the agenda then. Reviewing all the staff reports to be received and filed so that the Chief of Staff can notify staff. Are there any other staff members that need to be present for staff reports?
Councilman Dingfelder.
Yes. At some point early in the meeting, preferably before public comment, I'd like Mr. Rojero to just give us a brief summary on item 8, which is that.
I already mentioned it, and he's on standby. So we have a motion from Councilman Miranda and a second from Councilman Citro to approve the agenda and the addendum. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you very much. Before we begin, I have a memo here from Councilmember Goods that I'd like to read, and it says, "I will not be in attendance at today's meeting. I would like to thank the public and my colleagues for all the calls, emails, and messages of concern and outpouring of well wishes for my health. I would like for everyone to please stay safe, be cautious, wear a mask, and please, please get tested. I will be returning to City Council meetings as soon as possible." Thank you very much. We will now begin with the ceremonial activities. Item number 1, we have County Commissioner Mark Sharp to present. Sir, when you're ready. And as we have speakers coming up, when someone finishes at one lectern, that gets sanitized, so use the alternate one and then switch back and forth so we can keep it sanitized and clean. Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Chairman, City Council, it's an honor to stand before you. These are certainly unprecedented in historic times, and it's a credit to each of you that you're serving our community, and we deeply appreciate what you're doing for Tampa Bay. I am the director of an organization called the Tampa Innovation Partnership. It was created in 2011 while I was a county commissioner, and then I was given the opportunity in 2015 to serve as its director. And I have with me Eddie Birch, who'll be presenting the master plan in a few seconds, Chris Bowen from RD Management, the owners of the old University Mall that's now being refurbished in what is now called Rhythm, and he'll be explaining that briefly. And then Mr. Bo Kemp, who's with Faegre Bakers Daniels, who's also here and serving as our Opportunity Zone consultant. These are historic times, obviously, with COVID and the civil unrest as a result of what is justified anger. And the university area has been the center of much of that. You see when there's a time of crisis that your communities that have been underinvested oftentimes are the ones that suffer the most. But to be able to invest properly, you have to have a plan. And what we've been working on with John Bennett and Rob Rosner, Michelle Van Loan, I've had an opportunity to meet with the mayor. The mayor's been very supportive. Councilman Vieira, who's been very active in the university area, very supportive of our effort. The very first event that we actually hosted back in 2015, Mr. Bill Carlson served as a moderator, so many of you are very familiar with what we are working on. But we came together to put together a plan to lift up the university area, because the university area is our gateway. When people come to Tampa Bay for the first time, chances are they're visiting the University of South Florida, they're visiting Moffitt Cancer, they're visiting the VA hospital, they're coming to the University Mall, now Rhythm, they're going to Yingling, they're going to Busch Gardens. What they're seeing is the corridor leading in to what we now call the Uptown District, which is over 80,000 residents, a very diverse community. We believe that corridor deserves investment, significant investment. So we are partnering with the city, partnering with the county, our members, over 200 plus, to come to you to ask you today to continue that partnership. We were here in December where a memorandum of understanding was agreed to and signed by the city, signed by the county, signed by our members. We've been asked to put together a master plan, which we're going to present here in a few seconds. This is the update to that plan, and we're confident that working together, this project in the Uptown District will be the single largest redevelopment project in Tampa Bay's history. And with that, I will turn it over to Mr. Birch, who will be presenting the plan.
Thank you very much. Councilman Vieira, did you want to say anything at this time, being that it's your district?
And I appreciate it, Mr. Chair. I'll speak after everyone's finished. I don't want to.
All right.
But I appreciate it, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a PowerPoint that we can put on? Okay.
There it is.
I'm going to skip through some of these. Mark mentioned some things. December 19th, we reached this MOU, and it called for us to come back in a year with a business development plan. So we're about at the halfway point right now. We wanted to come and give you an update. A working group has been formed in that 6 months and met several times. That consists of our executive board chair, Chris Bowen, who you'll hear from in a moment, our advisory board chair, Clarence Singh, our Opportunity Zone consultant, Bo Kemp from Faegre and Drinker, who you'll hear from today, Mark Sharp, the UACDC president and CEO, Sarah Combs, as well as staff representatives from the county and the city staff that Mark mentioned, Michelle Van Loan, Rod Rosner, John Bennett's been involved in that as well early on. And this is an update to what is the draft of the strategic plan right now. We wanted to tell you kind of where it stands right now. That plan is based on about 24 existing studies and plans that have been done in the Uptown area over the years, best practices from other leading innovation districts around the country, and expertise from the members of that working group. The map that you see right here is the, when Tampa Innovation Partnership was created a few years ago, the area of focus is that area in yellow defined between I-75 and I-275, Bears Avenue and Bush Boulevard. As far as innovation districts go, that is a behemoth. You know, most of them are probably 1/20th of that size. That's about 19 square miles. So for the purpose of this plan, we really needed, the working group decided to really focus our energy and efforts. So phase one of the plan focuses on this area in blue, which is roughly bounded by 50th Street, I-275, Barris Avenue, and Bush Boulevard. And in the shaded areas in there, you see the opportunity zones have one vertical shade, and then there is a commercial core that's kind of a polyagonal shape in there where most of the development opportunity exists. The plan, the draft plan right now is built around 6 major outcomes that we want to achieve in order to make it a success. The first is to make the uptown area a catalyst for economic growth and a global thought leader. The second is to empower the community, and some key action steps here are things like creating a community benefits plan that will help spread the benefits of the area through the neighborhoods, and to include incentives for workforce and affordable housing in that plan, and to secure job funding, funding for job training programs, which we've had some success with, partnering with CareerSource on a tech hire grant that's about to wrap up, and we've got some other applications in process right now to help support that. The third outcome is to create a dense urban walkable core for mixed-use development. And that is where a lot of the opportunity exists. And a key step here, I'm not going to mention all these proposed action steps because we'll be here all day, but one of the keys here is to explore designation of a multi-story mixed-use commercial overlay district that will complement the work that FDOT's doing right now on the Fowler Avenue corridor. FDOT's examining changing the way that street is engineered, and we'd like to explore the possibility of an overlay between 30th Street and I-275 that would make the land use and zoning compatible with that. Fourth outcome is connecting the district. Some of the key action steps here are things like the Veterans Tech Trail that we're working on that would connect the VA hospital to the mall property that's redeveloping into an innovation village. And looking at other crossings for on that trailhead, for instance, to cross over Bruce B. Downs more safely to connect to the research park to really knit the assets of the core of the Uptown Innovation District together. The fifth outcome is zoning for innovation. One of the steps here that has been proposed is to develop some sort of transfer of development rights that would allow landholders in rural areas to transfer density rights into the area to help enable creating that dense, walkable urban core. And the final outcome concerns creating some sort of governing authority for the Uptown District. So over the next 18 months, we've prioritized a few action steps. One is formally assessing the water and service gaps in the Uptown District so that we can plan for extending service. There are several houses in the area that don't even have city water or sewer. Identifying and seeking federal funding assistance as well as public-private partnership resources for providing 5G broadband Wi-Fi access district-wide. This is something that the COVID issue really brought to light, is making sure that everybody has broadband, high-speed internet access. Using the, creating the community benefits program is another of those key action steps. Exploring creation of, I think I've been reading the wrong slide here, so sorry about that. Exploring the creation of that commercial overlay district that I mentioned. Supporting redevelopment of the MOSI, Museum of Science Industry property on Fowler. And then I've read a few of these to you already. Using the Opportunity Zone pitch book and related materials created by IP and Bo Kemp at Fabry Consulting in order to really market the district's Opportunity Zone program. About half of that district is designated Opportunity Zones. And establishing a mechanism for the transfer of development rights that I mentioned briefly a moment ago. And what we have in the MOU, the city, county, and IP pledged to share the expense of up to $2 million for this process. And we've been very conservative to this point, and we have requested a drawdown of $100,000 from the county, which was approved at their last meeting, and the city for $100,000. And combined with Tampa IP's $100,000, that would add up to $300,000 that would be allocated as laid out on the slide here. $100,000 of that would be for the continued planning process, consultation on that Fowler Avenue corridor, thought leadership partnerships that support outcome number 1, legal advice on forming that governing authority, and professional services in attaining and bringing more state and federal funding in to help the effort. And now I'm going to turn it over to Bo Kemp with Fagery and Drinker. Bo is a nationally renowned Opportunity Zone expert, and pitch it over to Bo.
So thank you for having me. It's been a really interesting project for us working on. As you may realize or may not, this is probably one of the largest Opportunity Zone projects in the United States. Clearly one of the ones that has, I think, the best opportunity to demonstrate the benefits of both development and increasing the social equity kind of index that you want in this space. So I've been really excited to work on it. What you see in front of you here is a couple of slides that we've laid out that really speaks to this issue around social equity. What we took to heart from your approval of the MOU was the importance of developing the area, but not doing so at the risk of displacing both the people and the businesses that are in that area. So we've done an initial analysis of where we think that risk is the greatest within the entire area of the Innovation District, and we've identified 3 areas, one of which is a risk for displacement for businesses, 2 of which are a risk for displacement of people, and come up with some mitigation strategies of what we think we need to do to reduce that risk. With regards to businesses, obviously the old University Mall and the current vendors that are in that mall are at the greatest level of risk in terms of businesses, because as the mall, now Rhythm, is being redeveloped and repurposed, many of those businesses may not be able to afford the rent. Part of what it is that we have decided is the best mitigation strategy is to create a corridor along 22nd Street that becomes a commercial corridor that leads directly into the mall, and to actually over time migrate businesses that are currently in the mall space but cannot stay there long term to that corridor so that they are in proximity to the consumers. They also can stay in business in roughly the same area, but they can actually be migrated there as opposed to being boxed out of the area in total. With regards to people, both the area around UACDC and the corner of Nebraska and Fletcher are areas where we see there's tremendous risk for displacement because they naturally lend themselves to the redevelopment and additional housing. But we also recognize that it's really important that we keep mixed income in that space. We need affordable housing, and we also need housing that's going to be workforce related for the universities and the hospitals as well as the mall that's in direct proximity. One of the keys to making sure that you do that is related to infrastructure. As Eddie had already mentioned, this area has kind of a hodgepodge of county, city, and septic that actually services many of the houses that are there. And as a result, it restricts the height at which you can actually build. Without building the height, you can't actually have the mixed income in that space that makes those projects financeable from a private sector perspective. So the public actually is the leader in moving forward a lot of this effort around the development, because with the infrastructure and transportation, but also the other components, that's what's going to drive the capacity to actually bring private sector in, build additional affordable housing to make sure that the people who currently live there can continue to live there as this entire area is overseen. So there are a number of key areas with regards to opportunity zones that we've looked at, and we've outlined in this map, which is hard to go through here, a series of points, about 12 different nodes where there's a combination of both a specific opportunity zone strategy along with potential incentives, as well as kind of the characteristics of that area that we think make this attractive. Next slide, Eddie. And we're only going to be able to give you a taste of this given where we are, but there are a whole series of opportunities that relate to hotel, hospitality, entertainment, which is an important sector, obviously for the city, but also for that particular area, to leverage opportunity zones to that effect. The infrastructure projects that we talked about have the opportunity to enlist opportunity zones as a part of the financing structure that we think makes a great deal of sense. Because of the work that's being done at Rhythm and the applied engineering and the universities, there's a chance to actually leverage opportunity zones to attract venture capital-based businesses to move into this zone to take advantage of the tax benefits of doing so. And we see a whole series of other opportunities related to the medical space and housing that can leverage opportunity zones. And we've outlined a whole series of next steps, some of which Eddie has already mentioned. Application for things like Choice Neighborhood and HUD, which really encourages the direct engagement of the community over a couple-year period so that any of the work and the changes that are being done in this area are done in direct consultation of the people who currently live there. There's monies that are available by leveraging opportunity zones from the federal government based on the CARES Act and the Stafford Act as a result of COVID that we think we can access both from the EDA and from the SBA. And there's a whole series of works that we've been doing with groups like University of South Florida and others that we think we can leverage opportunity zones to move forward. So with that, I think we are going to have Chris Bowen come up.
Good morning. Thank you for having us this morning. I'm Chris Bowen, Chairman of the Executive Board for the Innovation Partnership, also Chief Development Strategist for RD Management and the developer of the Rhythm at Uptown project. Earlier we referenced the Rhythm at Uptown Innovation Community Project and the urban design guidelines produced through a collaborative effort between the developer, RD Management, the Hillsborough County Development staff, and the Planning Commission staff as a part of the rezoning and PD plan approval process currently nearing its conclusion for the redevelopment of the 100-acre University Mall property. Rhythm, as in algorithm, stands for research, innovation, technology, habitat, and medicine. The 5 key elements programmed into this urban mixed-use innovation community. We believe this development will become an American urban center for technology and life sciences innovation on a social plane. Rhythm's urban guidelines, Rhythm's urban design guidelines provide a template to use for walkable, purposeful, and connected community design throughout the Uptown District. Establishing prominent gateways into the district via the main commercial corridors of Fowler, Bush, Fletcher, and Bruce B. Downs to provide a framework for new development focusing on an urban-scaled live, work, play ecosystem that allows commercial uses to connect with and empower public placemaking and residential neighborhood community building. While we don't have time today to review the full set of guidelines with the board, we would be happy to do so at another time. With that, we'll open up for some questions that you might have.
Thank you very much. Councilman Vieira.
And thank you, Mr. Chair, and I just wanted to thank everybody, Mr. Bowen, Mr. Birch, Mr. Kemp, Commissioner Sharp, everybody for your work on this. I think we always have to put in a special plug for Commissioner Sharp, who's, I remember being, maybe 17 years old and reading about a young insurgent who was almost House Ways and Means Committee. And he went on to be a great 2-term county commissioner, and just his service continues. So Commissioner Sharp, thank you for being such a bridge builder. I know I embarrassed you, but that's all right. But we just thank everybody for doing this. This is a very special project. It's very special for me, not just because it's my district that I have the pleasure of representing, along with Councilman Dingfelder, Miranda, and Councilman Citro, who represented via citywide, but also because I grew up in this area. I grew up in Temple Terrace, and so I've seen the real changes over the last 20, 30 years. They haven't always been for the better, because I believe that local government has effectively abandoned this area. And when you take a look at the potential that this area has and all the different stakeholders that this area has, it really doesn't make a lick of sense, does it? That when you look at somewhere where the University of South Florida, the VA, Florida Hospital, Moffitt, Shriners, University Mall, now Rhythm, and I remember going there so many times as a kid. So many different institutions there, not to mention the human capital that's there, and to see that disengagement is just really, really a travesty. I certainly hope that we move this forward in Tampa City Council today. I'm glad to see that there's such a comprehensive plan, and I'm glad to see that we're thinking of such a comprehensive master plan. When you take a look at the USF area, we call it the USF area, includes Bush, Fowler, and the surrounding areas. There's so much potential there because of the institutions and the different human capital and the families that are represented there. That this area has taken, or will be taking, 3 really big potential hits in the forthcoming months, and has taken some really big hits. Number one that could be coming through, depending on what the Supreme Court says, is all for transportation. That's over $300 million a year in transportation money throughout Hillsborough County, something that would have disproportionately supported areas like the North Tampa area to do, among other things, getting a mass transit connector between the University of South Florida and downtown Tampa, something that would benefit it greatly. That's not yet lost, but if that money's lost, it's going to be a tremendous hit to the area, and that's a tremendous injustice that we will have to go back and remedy. Obviously, COVID-19. Something that's taken our national economy from 4% unemployment to about 1 out of 7 Americans being unemployed. Disproportionately hits this area. And lastly, as Commissioner Sharp and others talked about, the aftermath of the protests in North Tampa with the subsequent looting to the areas in Fowler as well as on Bush, and the effect that has to the morale of that area. I was out there that day at the protest with Mayor Castor and Chief Dugan and others. And the next day after the tragedy that happened that night, I went out to Fowler where the Champs is, and I talked to a lot of the folks there. I talked to the business owners there, and I always tell folks, because folks say, what'd you hear, what'd you learn? And one of the things that is so poignant about the North Tampa area with regards to the entrepreneurship that is there is that the entrepreneurship reflects the diversity of the American dream and of the American free market system at its potential best. I talked to folks who were Vietnamese immigrants who operated stores, folks from the Middle East who came here, and it was their American dream to be an entrepreneur and take a chance and open up a small business. Folks, I spoke to a gentleman from India who owned the jewelry store that wasn't directly affected. It wasn't looted, thank goodness, but it took some hits. And he'd been here for 5 years in the United States and then opened up that store. That's the American dream. And that American dream is happening at the USF area. And we ought to be there certainly to support it. One of my big worries after we saw the news with COVID-19 and the major hit that was going to have on our finances was that the administration and local government was going to turn away from this project. There are certain things you do to adjust your vision whenever new developments happen in the economy. But I was glad to see the Castro administration and others say that this is part of a long-term vision and that we will stand behind it no matter what happens right now. Because this is part of a long-term vision that hasn't been supported in the past. So as Commissioner Sharp and others said, we salute Jane Castor and the Castro administration for their vision on this. And as been said, this is also an area that deals with such a high concentration of poverty. Someone talked about, something that we've been talking about with the UACDC, that some homes in this area can't even be connected to city water. It's so remarkable when you just think about that and the kind of poverty, the ignored poverty that we have in this area. A lot of times in local government, when we talk about poverty, for some reason we don't talk about the USF area. We don't talk about Fowler. We don't talk about Bush. We don't talk about the surrounding areas. We have to include them in the conversation because those families, the human capital that will form the basis of this long-term renewal and redevelopment are such an integral part. This has to be part of a comprehensive vision for the USF area that includes not only economic development, not only creating that rising tide that's going to lift all boats in the area, but taking a look at walkable communities, taking a look at the speed limit on Bush Boulevard, taking a look at making sure that pedestrians and bicyclists and other folks have safety on Bush and Fowler and the surrounding roads, talking about code enforcement, making sure that the area is beautified and kept clean. I know Commissioner Mark Sharp and so many others worked so hard on the China Buffet building, which was many, many years in progress, and a tremendous credit to all the different folks that were there. Talking about affordable housing, one of the big crises that we have in this area. Whenever it comes to affordable housing, if the Hillsborough County as a whole is suffering from a Category 1 hurricane, the USF area has a Category 3 hurricane all the time, 24/7. We got to deal with that issue. Continuing to push mass transit, no matter what happens with AFT in Tallahassee, with the Florida Supreme Court, continuing to push for that vision, and really talking about this, viewing this as a 2020 social justice project. I said social justice. The idea that on the basis of living and being an American, that you should have human dignity, the basic right to affordable housing. If you're going to work hard and work 40 hours a week and raise your kids, that you ought to be able to have affordable housing, good quality health care, good public schools, a walkable community, things like that. This project on a local level goes a long way in promoting social justice through so many means, through so many different means, through economic development, government subsidies, different kinds of partnerships, and I hope and pray that this thing goes forward. But I just wanted to thank everybody for your work. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Councilman Dingfelder.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of specific questions. And Mark, I'm not sure who you want to direct these to. Since you're the team leader, I'll let you decide. So obviously this is going to take a lot of outside money beyond the stakeholders that have already been identified. And I was curious of what sort of outside interest, without giving any details, but what sort of outside interest from other places in the country have folks been expressing, interest in terms of investing? This looks like a great area. What kind of interest have we been getting over the last couple of years in this?
Well, let me start by saying one outside interest, which actually is now a hometown interest, is the Yingling family.
Mm-hmm.
So I took the opportunity when I got the job to meet with the Yinglings, because they've been brewing beer there since, well, for the last almost 20 years at a facility right across the street from Busch Gardens that they had purchased. Dick Yingling was able to purchase it from the Stroh's group. They were really not interested in investing beyond their brewery. They're doing quite well. But when I went and talked to them, and they actually came down, Dick and his daughter Wendy, and there's 3 girls, there are actually 4 daughters that are now managing the business along with their father. They came here, saw an opportunity, and are now investing $65 million in that facility to build a hotel, a restaurant, and a hospitality house. And so that's a significant investment from one family that has seen the vision. We had a conference call this week with a group that has a New York interest. And what we are finding is that there are a number of parties that are in areas in the Northeast that are looking for opportunities to invest in innovation near universities in Florida. And so they're very interested, and of course we're looking at the Rhythm property. We're also talking about the opportunities. The county just let their RFP last week for the Mosey property, so there's an awful lot of interest. The Artie Management's out of New York. And they saw, and here's why this is so important. They saw an opportunity with the University Mall. They met with the president of the University of South Florida. They talked with Advent Health, Moffitt Cancer, many others, the Hillsborough County, and made a bet that this was where the future of economic development ought to be. And they purchased that mall not to keep it as a mall, but to revitalize it into something very special. And they've been pouring millions of dollars into that property to frame it, as Mr. Bowen talked, into now what is now Rhythm. They've also created 3 opportunity zones, active zones, within their property area for investment. So they're investing money. They are tripling down on their investment. And Mr. Burdoff, who is the principal for RD Management, has many relationships around the country, and we're confident that there's going to be significant interest in investing in the district. And that's one reason, again, why we brought Mr. Kemp here, because Mr. Kemp is to help us shape and frame that OZ zone into something that's attractive for investors. There's a small group, Mr. Gibbons represents this group that's looking at partnering with us, Tim Gibbons, and investing in the district. So we're seeing significant interest, but I can tell you, having been a commissioner for 10 years, having spent all my life in Tampa Bay, if you don't have a plan, if you're not organized and working together, you won't get the investment. And as Councilman Vieira stated, and he was dead on, even with all the anchors that are sitting there, we weren't getting the investment because we didn't have a coherent, unified plan bringing the city, the county, and for that matter, the state. And the state has put $1 million, and we're hoping that the governor does not veto our $1 million walkway connecting the VA hospital to Rhythm. So far, it's good, and we want to thank the House and the Senate for sponsoring that appropriation. But what we are seeing is now with a plan, it will attract significant investment, and it already has begun to do that.
Mark, that sounds great. One other quick question, especially because we do have some utility folks over there against the wall. When you talk about improvements in water and sewer and stormwater and that sort of thing, and I know you know this area better than anybody for many decades, are most of the improvements in the city or in the county in terms of the infrastructure improvements that are needed? Both.
Both significant. We have, as you can be well aware, as you go north of Fletcher or north of Fowler Avenue to the west of the university, that area, the UACDC area where Sarah comes and her group works, that area is in the county. But as you go south into areas where we have significant partnerships, south of Fowler Avenue, that area is in the city, and we're looking at both. I think the significant need, I would say that there's a number of people who are in that UACDC area that are on well and septic, but we also have a number in the city.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. Councilman Carlson.
I'll make it quick. As Mark mentioned, I was a facilitator for the very first meeting, and I did that for free, by the way, as a donation to the service. But I've always thought that this area had the most potential for economically of any area. We've had several huge economic engines there, and USF is an economic engine for the region, but in particular for that region. And there was so much possibility. And Mark and the founding sponsor of this group have done such a great job bringing everybody together, building consensus, building a vision. This is so impressive. And I'm really happy that you all have put this all together. And you all know that one of the things I've said all along is that we need to focus on people, not buildings. Economic development in the city for years was about subsidizing real estate development, subsidizing companies from out of town that wanted cheap labor and cheap land and cheap taxes. And we're moving away from that now to focusing on people and entrepreneurship and helping design and invest in the environments around people. We have a terrible poverty problem in this issue, and because of gentrification policies and shutting down affordable housing, we've had what protesters call the whitewashing of Tampa, where poor people and some black and brown people had to move outside the city limits even, and that exacerbated the issues in the USF area. As Mark says, the USF area has the poorest people in the region and some of the richest people in the region. And so and also it's one of the most multicultural areas in the region. I mean, all the best international restaurants are there. I call it our world village. Anyway, I so appreciate that you all are looking at the people and trying to help lift all the people up and provide a better environment for all the neighborhoods and the people that are there. So thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. We're going to, Councilman Citro?
Yes, please and thank you, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Mark, you and I have had many discussions, as all three of us had. In your PowerPoint, there was an area number 5. In 1980, that was a corner of 131st and 15th. In 1980, I lived there. And I have not seen any change in the last 40 years. Dr. Judy Ginshaft with the Bulls, USF, made a comment years ago how we can have this beautiful, beautiful college and have to drive through a blighted area to get there. I am happy to see this project really starting to gain momentum. Excuse me. I have some questions. As one of the councilmen asked, you are going to be asking for outside interest to help. Is there going to be tax dollars reinvested, ad valorem, or tax dollars reinvested within this area? Is there a plan for those tax dollars to be reinvested in this area?
That's still to be decided by the various boards. We do, item 6 on that, outcome 6 is to develop some sort of governing authority, and we need to explore all the possibilities that go along with that. We don't, it's not decided at this point.
All right, the governing authorities would be Hillsborough County and the City of Tampa?
What's that?
The governing authorities would be Hillsborough County and the City of Tampa.
That would be, they would definitely be at least part of that. Perhaps it would be some sort of hybrid that we need to explore the creation of.
Okay.
With representation from both.
Because I keep seeing things like community benefit area, government authorities, community benefits, new housing infrastructure, implements population density, and partnerships between city and county. That's sounding a heck of a lot like CRAs to me. What is the difference between this proposed plan and CRAs with all these government entities coming together and asking for tax dollars to be reinvested in this area if you're planning on in the future?
Well, we had an opportunity to talk with both the county administrator and the mayor, and I want to give great credit to Mayor Jane Castor for recognizing again the need for an investment in the university area and the complexity of that area because of the overlapping jurisdictions. But we determined early on in the conversation that establishing a new CRA was likely not going to be of the highest priority unless the city, the county, and all of our partners determined that would be something that they wanted. And having met with members of the city council, we've watched and followed closely the meetings and the proceedings. We recognize the sensitivity to that. So we don't feel that right now will be a priority, although the new governing entity, and that governing entity, which that's why we are here, we were going to be drawing down resources so that we can determine the best mix, and then we'd have to bring that back to the city and the county to determine what type of governing entity would govern the district. It's likely that that governance would not begin with any direct tax. The community benefits agreement is something that we are going to be implementing, but that's something separate. That just simply states that when companies or businesses come into the university area, they would agree to provide a benefit back to the community in return for the support of this coherent plan that we're putting together. It's a way for the businesses to give back.
All right.
I thank you very much. Again, I hope to be included in any type of groundbreaking ceremonies.
You will, sir.
This is a great idea. This is long overdue. I wish you all the best of luck, and you have my support. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. We are going to take a 15-minute.
I just want to ask one question.
Go ahead, Councilman Miranda.
I heard the name water and sewer a couple of times, and no one's, does anyone know how many houses or entities have no water and sewer? Because I remember back in the 70s, 74, 75, 76, the city had 18 or 20% one way or the other, with either without city water or without city sewer. And there was an ordinance passed that you had to connect within so many years, if my mind serves me correct.
We don't yet know the answer to that.
Is that an assumption or a fact?
The number, I don't know about that percentage that you just cited. But no, we do need to get the city and the county together to actually explore and study and find out what that.
I'm going to ask the city later on,
Okay.
aside from this meeting, let me know that whole area,
Okay.
what part of the city doesn't have, because I'm appalled that it doesn't have it, because if my mind serves me correct, there was an ordinance passed in the mid-70s that you had to hook up to city water and sewer.
And there are also stormwater issues in the area
Yeah,
as well.
I understand,
So that's
but that's a
separate.
third one.
Yeah, yeah. But no, we don't know that number. We need
I
to
understand.
find out what it is.
I understand. Thank you.
Thank you very
And
much.
Mr. Chair, if I may really fast, we need to have a motion in support of this, correct, Commissioner Sharp?
Yes, sir, and I also want to make sure we do give credit to Carol Post. Carol's been very active in supporting, we met with
Amen.
her, we talked with her, and she's directed Rob to work with us, but, so we want to thank all the staff.
Thank you
Yes,
very
we will
much.
make a motion.
May I
Chairman-
make a motion if I may?
Yeah, Mr. Viera, if you'd like to go ahead.
Okay, just make a motion in support of this project and going forward in full?
All right, do we have a
Second.
second? Second from Councilman, motion from Councilman Viera, second from Councilman Citro. All those in favor? Indicate by
Aye.
saying aye. Aye? Any opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Mr. Chair.
we're going to take a 15-minute break. Thank you very much. We're going to take a 15-minute recess, and we're going to go to public comment. We're going to switch it around 15 minutes so we can start getting folks in here and organized and whatnot, and we'll take that up. Thank you very much. We're in recess for 15 minutes. right, this city council meeting is back in session. We're going to go to public comment. We've sanitized each of the, I'm sorry, roll call, please. Go ahead.
Vieira.
Here.
Goods. Carlson.
Here.
Dingfelder. Citro. Miranda.
Here.
Maniscalco.
Here? All right, before we go to public comment, we sanitize each of the lecterns before each speaker. So when you go to one, the next person goes to the other, and we sanitize them back and forth. Each person is going to have 3 minutes to speak. Everybody is going to be heard. Everybody's going to have an opportunity to speak for those 3 minutes. So we'll begin with Mr. Daniels. Go ahead, sir.
Not Tampa, Florida. It's a strange irony because I've been coming to these city council meetings for decades, 30 years or so. And what you see is your representatives that's what our community get out the city council. Absolutely, positively nothing. Y'all treat us like dirt. They treat us like dirt on the streets. They treat us like dirt in our homes. They treat us like dirt in our communities. They treat us like dirt in other people's communities. Just like they attempted to treat the people like dirt and arrested 62 people just trying to stand up for their rights, trying to stand up for what they see as an injustice that took place against our people. But it's been 620 years of injustices going on against African people in particular, and other indigenous individuals. And this city council, just as I have always stated, is a do-nothing city council. The ones before y'all was a do-nothing city council, but what they have is a big billion-dollar budget, and nothing in it for us, and we 26% of the population. We're 26% of the population and nothing in it for us. And when we talk to you about the atrocities that's going on, especially under the Nazi police department of Brian Dugan, nobody hear anything. Y'all don't hear us, because why? Because y'all don't MF and feel our pain. Y'all can't feel black pain. Y'all can't feel black suffering. Y'all can't feel black humiliation. Y'all can't feel it. Y'all don't know it. You don't know what it is. You don't know what it is to live it. You don't know what it is to be worried about your kids if they're going to make it home or not. You don't know what it is about catching a charge unnecessarily and having something on your record. Y'all don't know what it feels like. Y'all living that life of luxury, and it doesn't matter to y'all. And y'all showed out today. Y'all showed out today. Y'all showed y'all true colors. The damn people down here to speak, and y'all got us out in the, oh man. Y'all got us out in the holding pen. Y'all got us out in the holding pen like you hold hogs and cattle and other animals as y'all in here handling city business without the people. And then they try to intimidate you by telling you only 20 people can get in. It's an intimidation, and that's what y'all doing to African people. And y'all been doing it forever. It ain't something that just started new. It ain't something that started with George Floyd. Because I know I've been coming down here personally for 30 years or so. And nothing has changed. And they murdered the man, Jonas Joseph, and nothing happened about that. Nothing happened about it. Do something, man. Stop, like, hey, do something. Y'all like to act like I'm radical. No, I'm very average. Very, very average. All African people and all people who want rights for other people, that's exactly how they feel. All our families are here. We're all family here. Everybody in here is family. And that's why we came united. And united we stand, and divided we're not going to fall. Y'all not going to divide us anymore. Them days over with.
Thank you very much. To that lectern while she sanitizes that one.
Greetings, everybody. My name is Your Highness Tafari. I'm the producer and the host of Source Talk Saturday, a live open forum community discussion show aiming to deal with the issues that we see that's proven to be detrimental to our survival and progress as people on the planet. I'm also the co-owner and executive chef of the Vegged Out Vegan Kitchen, an all-vegan establishment, food and delivery service based right here in Tampa. Just come to share my part with the city council. Of course, being a black boy, growing up to a black man, I've seen a lot of these injustices happen to black people over and over. A lot of these organizations that I've been recently tying with, for us at different protests and different businesses, of course, are sharing the same sentiment. But I'm here to ask to our city council leadership, why are we not, or you all are not, critically and organizing a live town hall meeting to discuss ethnic relations amongst people? Problem solving 101 is to get people together and have open dialogue. And we can't honestly solve any problems without people having open, honest, transparent conversation. When I talk amongst my black people, I say it's our responsibility to create a safe space for white people to come and feel, to express how they really feel, honestly, their honest thoughts, instead of just talking in our closed quarters. And when I honestly talk to other white people, I want us to get black people to say, look, this is how for you to get a chance to see how we truly feel and express that. So why isn't the leadership of the city calling a town hall meeting to discuss how we truly feel? These are the questions that we have to ask, because if you're not doing that, everything else is just lip service. We're jumping to step 10, we're not going to step 1. This is ABC and problem solving, getting people together and speaking. So I'm trying to organize, and I'm in touch with local businesses, particularly my own vegan industry, to get a venue to have an open, live discussion to see how people truly and honestly feel about each other. That's how we start to educate and bring awareness, so we can start to move on. And if you're not doing that, then I know all of this is just talk. Because people can't get together and speak on how they honestly feel, how are we going to really solve the problems? So I'm calling on the city and anybody else that's involved and interested as well to have an open, honest dialogue on this. This is the only way we can raise awareness. So y'all are the leaders. Y'all have been appointed by the people to do this. I don't see an effort on no one saying, City of Tampa, we're bringing everybody out. If you don't want to do it, we're going to live stream it as well, because that's my plan on Facebook. We're going to talk about this to get this thing out in the open and get these feelings out, because we're having closed quarters conversation in our homes. We need to have an open dialogue. These are the questions I'm posing to each and every one of y'all individually, to think, why are we not doing the step 1, bringing people together, allowing people to openly and honestly and share transparent feelings? This is the way you educate people. If you're not doing that, then what are we doing? And most people are just so caught up in their own bubble, they don't really care. And it's not just the city councilors, most people in the city, period, because everybody's divided. And that's a whole bigger issue and another conversation for another place. But we need to have a city town hall meeting. We need to have a discussion. People need to be aware of how each other feel. And without people being aware of how we feel, there is no solving the problems. Please consider that. Give thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, sir.
My name is Pastor Frank Williams, located 1112 East Scott Street. I've been coming down here for about the last 30 years, and it seems like justice has gotten worse than it ever been in the history of our lives. And we must understand, and I keep coming down here, but I got to first read some scripture to y'all, because I am a pastor. If my people, which are called by my name, this the word of God Almighty, called by my name, shall humble themselves, seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then God say he will heal the earth. We won't be healed until we turn to God in prayer. I don't care how you look at me. I'm a man, and I'm going to be a man till I go to the graveyard. And I thank God that's what he created me to be. We going around talking about we this and we that. What do that mean to any of us? I don't care what you are, but I know who I am. And we getting all this money coming into the city, but ain't none of it coming to the black folk. It always hang around the white folk. And they satisfy themselves and don't even give us the crumbs. We're in trouble down here. Now if we say, hey, we're going to organize, and we get a 9mm gun and put on our hip like they carrying on their hip, then that'll be a different story. Seems like that's the only thing y'all can answer, killing, 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 and killing poor black people. When the guy broke in the woman's house there, she was sleeping in bed and gonna go shoot the woman, poor innocent woman. Talking about he was looking for another person. I wish somebody would come and knock on my door, knock my door down. Good God Almighty, they're gonna have to answer for it. Y'all got all kind of damn laws here to restrict black people from being free. Now you got this corona thing here and telling us we got to wear a mask. And if I don't wear a mask, you want to charge me $500. I don't believe in no damn corona. I believe in Jesus Christ. And that's the way it's going to be until I leave here. And I want you all to know, don't look at the color of my skin. Look at the intelligence of my brain. And then you'll know that that's Frank Williams speaking. And now let me tell you something else. I'm going to take that Williams off me because that's my slave mentality name. I'm changing that name. Good God Almighty, y'all can keep y'all slave name, but I'm taking that name off. And when I take it off, they need to pay me my money for taking it off. Good God Almighty. Y'all messing over us, been messing over us too damn long. And some people sitting at home, y'all rather go to the weak person than to come to a bold soldier like me and other people. Lord have mercy. I've been crying for about 30 years. And don't see no justice here for black folk. And y'all glad about it. And what need to happen, you need to disband the city council and the mayor. Need to get rid of all of y'all. Get somebody in there that's gonna respect people for who they are. Quit looking at the color of my skin. That old man, he ain't gonna be around long. I ain't gonna be around long, but I'll tell you one thing. When I leave here, I'm going to be with Jesus Christ forever and forever. And you ain't gonna find many preachers that gonna talk like I do because they scary. They need to come out of the closet and preach the truth. Good God Almighty, what are we waiting for? I know y'all waiting for me to die. But my time ain't yet. When God called me home, I'll be glad to go home to get out of this situation. It's nasty.
Thank you very much, sir.
Nasty. God bless all of you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, my name is Getulio Gonzalez Military. I'm co-chair of the Direct Action Working Group for DSA, Tampa chapter, that's Democratic Socialists of America. I got a list of demands for y'all. Anybody at home or out in the hallways, if you're curious, TampaBayDSA.org. I believe Councilman Carlson has a copy already, so.
Councilman Carlson, would you mind if we made a photocopy for each council member? All right, so we all.
You want to just give it to her?
Okay.
Thank you.
I came in here not knowing what I was going to say, but thank you for supplying me this agenda, because off the bat, I find it interesting that, and no offense, but I have to call you what you are, you're capitalist swine. Right off the bat, you dedicate 10 to 15 minutes to a former county commissioner and Tampa Innovation to gentrify North Tampa. That's very interesting. A resolution to donate 2 horses, $6,000 each, from Rise Tampa and our police foundation. 2 horses, that's for us protesters out here. A resolution accepting a donation of 1 canine, Sly, priced at $9,500. That's interesting. That's money that our community can use. I'm just saying. Now, I can't speak for the police officers out here. I'm a veteran, right? And I understand what service before self means. If I was a police officer, I'd want to be out of a job because the communities are safe. I'm just saying, right? And all we want, you call us radical, all we want out here is to defund the police to go towards crime prevention, the conditions which create crime in the first place. Housing, rehabilitation, education. This is common sense stuff. If there's no poverty in the city, there's no crime. You guys know that. But you're too focused on making money. You see what I'm saying? So I see a lot of young people out here full of energy. Eventually, we'll come for your jobs. We'll come for your jobs. if you don't do them right. And guess what? We're not going to stop protesting. We're going to be out there. And I already told the Community Review Board, you're going to have to kill me. I'm going to be either we negotiate what's on that list, or you're going to have to kill me. I'll become a martyr. I'm not scared, right? And I'm sure a lot of people here, they're not scared either, right? Because it's been 400 years, and nothing's given yet. Change is going to come. That song's what, 40, 50, 60 years old? Where's change, man? Where's the change? So we got to do something, man. Y'all got to do y'all job. Y'all got to stop being swine, man. You got to start doing your job and represent the people who elected you. And you know what? I yield my time. That's it.
Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Tori. Grateful to be here, truly. I'm going to start by saying this. As a student leader on my campus, I had 1,350 training hours to become an orientation leader. You know what that means? I walk around with signs, help students get acclimated to campus. 1,350. 770 hours to become a police officer. Military-grade weapons, people's lives in your hands, and I have more training to be an orientation leader. I don't understand how that makes any sense. That's first. But y'all already know, it's been very clear. We're asking for the defunding of the police, but at this point, I'm not gonna repeat myself a million times over. If you wanna know what I said, you can go to the Tampa Bay Times. If you wanna know what anyone says, you can go to the Tampa Bay Times. Everybody's already said it a million times. I'm tired of talking, I want action. So first of all, this little gentrification that y'all wanna do, pushing black people out of our families and wanna talk about diverse neighborhoods, out of our homes. Does that make sense? Would you wanna be pushed out of your home? I'm genuinely asking you. No, right? So I want you all to understand that this investment in the community, if you can understand that, you can understand defunding the police and putting it into black neighborhoods. You can understand that because you already do it. You already do it for white folks. You do it for yourselves. You want your children to go to good schools. You want your children to eat. You want your children to go to sleep. You want your children to be safe. You want that, right? You want that for yourself, for your wife, for your kids. And then on top of that, here I am as a black woman fighting for my life and the lives of others while what? 7 men decide the fate of our entire city. Nothing to offer, nothing to offer. It's maddening to me. I've lived in Tampa my entire life, so I'm not just pulling this out of my what and coming to you and just angry for no reason. It is systemic. And it's also systematic. It's purposeful. It's intentional. All of you are complicit by not speaking up. If you hear the people and you represent the people, then do right by the people. And I don't care what it took for people to get out here. I simply do not care. But the point is that we're here. The message has been clear. It has been told to you a million times over, but now we in your face, constantly. And you will not get rid of this face until I see changes in this city. Real changes. I want Castor gone. I want Dugan gone. And if y'all can't make it happen, then eventually I would need you all gone as well. And I want to believe that you all have the people in mind when you do what you do, but there's no way for me to have proof of that because I have seen the ways in which you have pushed people out of their communities to make room for who? For who? So again, I will leave you with this, a question for you to ponder on. Who do you serve?
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Johnny Johnson. I've been coming down here for years and years with the Bishop, Michelle B. Patty, Ms. Connie Burton, Matilda, and stuff. We've been a few that was in the City Hall chamber voicing our opinion. And we've been asking our citizens to stand up behind us. Y'all could have did something a long time ago to prevent what's going on now. If you only just listen to the few voices that came down here with compassion, because they was hurt and had pain. You had control of it, it was in your hand. Now look out on the streets, what you call the city of Tampa. It's out of control. You got hurt people. All you had to do was just listen. Just listen to your constituents, the one put you up on your pedestals, one gave you an opportunity to lead a group of people, treat us all right, equal. Now look what you have to deal with. I'm so happy this moment has come because we've been coming down here day after day, year after year, asking. But now, it's no more asking. We demanded, and we got help now. And you just heard them before us, they're not going anywhere. Do your job. That's all we asked for. Now we demand it. We are the highest tax city, county in the state of Florida. Why doesn't our city reflect that? Why the people are so hurt, so full of pain? And it's sad that y'all continue to look at people with a senseless heart, like we're still just pulling stuff out of thin air. Y'all don't speak on the coronavirus. 5,500 cases in one day in this state. And it's hurting my people the most. But y'all instead, like the man say, capitalists, worry about money over people. It's people's dying, it's people sick. It's called people over money, man. Everyone counts. Nobody get left behind. That's how it's supposed to be. I can get up here with irate, man. I just want to just humble myself and look at you guys how you looking at me. Because I'm quite sure there's some more gonna come behind me that's gonna fill in the blank. But you should sit up there with a heart to look at your constituents and listen to them. The compassion. People got out their bed like you got out your bed this morning. And I want you to remember one thing, when y'all fighting for these cops, these nasty cops, all of us are human beings. Nobody's perfect. Because they put up on a uniform, they don't turn into a Superman, a perfect person. They are still human beings. So they can pull any move that y'all want to call us. Those are thugs too. There's thugs in those uniforms. You know what I'm saying? So don't forget that a police officer is a human being just like us. So they can make any mistake or do anything the rest of us can do. So defund them, move the money around properly, and stop letting them get away with first-degree murder.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Two nights ago, the other night, Chief Dugan insinuated that, the only reason that we're out here is because of George Floyd's murder. I just want to state that this isn't because of George Floyd. This is because of Emmett Till. This is because of the Charleston Nine. This is because white men who can shoot up schools and still not be called terrorists and get fed Burger King. The reason that we're here is because we went through, like my man said earlier before, 600 years of systematic oppression. That's slavery. That's gerrymandering. That's the gentrification and kicking their own citizens out of their community. We just want equality. We just want y'all to hear us, our voice, the cries. People coming up in wheelchairs, crutches. There's someone gonna come up who got ran over just last week. And who? And the cops won't even find him. Where is he? Why isn't he arrested? Why isn't he arrested? Why are there no charges pressed against this man? Another man in a wheelchair. Your police officers are shooting rubber bullets, tear gas, and spraying people in the face with bear mace and pepper spray. Me personally, I got sprayed in the face with bear mace for peacefully protesting in my streets that I pay for, by the officers that I pay for. Where's the justice? I yield my time.
Thank you very much.
Tampa, Florida. So there's so much that I wanted to talk about coming out here today. Many of you know my face. In the first 30 minutes of waiting in this building to even come and speak to my city council, it encapsulated everything I was going to say today. The police pushing, yelling, shouting at people who are coming here to speak to their city council members over a sign. That shows that the degradation of common sense in the Tampa Police Department, which is linked directly to Police Chief Dugan. If you don't have the wherewithal to say, you know what, that's a sign, I'm gonna let them go through. But meanwhile, Mayor Jane Castor put a citation, say $500 you don't wear a mask. It's police officers in this very building not wearing masks, laughing at people. So yes, I could talk about my injury and I could talk about that. We will be back out there Saturday, 4 p.m. You know, I could talk about that, but really, as such a slight thing to see your police officers taunting people who are rightfully upset, not wearing masks, but want to escalate. They don't have any de-escalation tactics in TPD, you know? And I don't want to talk about myself. What I want to talk about is a few things. In the Tampa Police Department SOP, which you can find online, Standard Operating Procedures, there is no mention that interacting with a stolen vehicle or a vehicle with stolen tags, it is appropriate to hold suspect by gunpoint. Yet, TPD did that. Why does Tampa Police Department have a YouTube channel? Why isn't that ran through the city? Why are they not accountable to us? Why are they not accountable to you? But then you dox a black woman because she had the audacity to record, to fight for her life. But listen up. What about Police Chief Dugan? Would he like if his family information was put out? Because police department said that it was okay that that woman's information was put out because it's public information. Police Chief Dugan information is public. He don't even live in the city of Tampa. He live in Lutz. And per Tampa Charter, department heads must live within the city. So we're talking about accountability. Why does he live in a gated community in Lutz? And that's public record as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before the next speaker, if you've already spoken, we have more people that want to come in, so as people speak, if they can step out and we bring more people in so everybody gets an opportunity to speak. Go ahead, sir.
First off, y'all looking good, y'all groomed, y'all well dressed, which is not to be taken as a compliment because y'all community can't even get to that point, can't even get themselves groomed or dressed like y'all. Pretty sad. Another thing I would like to address is for Mr. Dugan. I'm gonna put this right here just for him.
If you could state your name, sir.
Ahmed, nice to meet you. First off, communication is the process of passing information and understanding from one person to another. In simple words, it's a process of transmitting and sharing ideas, opinions, fact, values, etc. from one person to another or one organization to another. That is the definition of communication, Mr. Dugan. If someone is running away from you because you got a gun, what does that communicate? If someone is telling you he can't breathe, what does that communicate? If we are peacefully protesting for our rights, what does that communicate? I don't know you, and you are supposed to serve me as a waiter. A waiter comes up to me and smiles me in the face and tells me his name. You don't do that. You don't even tell me your name. I have to come to you and tell you, can I get your information? Let me get your name and badge number. That is not serving me. Instead of printing a bunch of leaflet last time and try to pass it around as information, you should have put that into books for our children to actually get informed for something. Enough with the sugarcoating, because it's real. It's not getting real, it's already real. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Man, I'm Farron Marvin. I ain't scared to tell you my name. I don't want you to know me, man. Hey, man, I came back up here to tell you today, man. Y'all gotta make something happen, man. Hey, bro, I need your full attention. I need your full attention. You up here for me. You hear me? I need your full attention. Engage, activate. They ain't gonna put a smile on your face, man. Not a grin, not a smirk, a smile. Hey, but y'all gotta tighten up, man. Tighten up. Guess what? Guess what? It just hit me. Oh, y'all white. I'm your brother too, but where my brothers at? Ain't enough of y'all. Ain't enough of y'all, man. Come on, we gotta split it up, man. Why I say that? See, I'm saying that not on the racist stuff. Why I say that? Because you won't be able to reach my people. You're not gonna be able to understand where we come from. See, the dollars that you are putting out, you think it's coming to me. It's not reaching nowhere near me. And I'm the poverty line. Work 2 jobs, still don't got nowhere to stay. Understand me? Just got shot twice. No unemployment, no nothing. And I know y'all can't do nothing about it, won't do nothing about it, don't really care to do nothing about it. But what I'm telling y'all gotta change your mind frame, or y'all gonna have what's coming. I'm talking about numbers and numbers and numbers, the way you ain't gonna feel comfortable wherever you at. So you gotta start making changes right here in the city of Tampa. That's where I grew up in, 35 years. Blood, sweat, and tears. Hey, buddy. I'm dead serious about this, bro. I'm dead serious. I want you engaged. You gotta be looking up. I want you engaged, because this for real. It's been real. Y'all going back home, shooting tied up. Y'all gonna live the luxury life like Matthias and I said. Y'all finna go home and live luxury life. Nah, bro. This for real. Y'all don't start making changes, it's gonna be changes made up there. Y'all, it's time for y'all to step down anyway. It's enough, too much gray hair up here. It's enough of y'all time to step down, let the young folks in, and let us get stuff start pushing stuff in our city. Right now, man, I got a movement. Y'all can push in right now. Give me a couple of dollars. Y'all putting all this money into all these police that don't give a fuck about us. My bad human language real quick. But they don't care about us, man, and they ain't playing fair. One thing about it, it's on y'all. One thing I know now, that y'all got a duty to protect us, to serve us, to keep us going, to make us grow. Man, I'm scared for my kids to come up in this next one if y'all still sitting there. Know what I'm saying? You gotta tighten up, man. Fly right. What you thought was right is wrong. So re-educate yourself, relearn. It's different tactics that you need to use now. It's better communication skills that you need to learn now. See, I'm telling you, you don't know how to interact with me. Only conversation we can probably have is Tom Brady here now. Go Bucks. Well, guess what? Y'all gonna tighten up. We gonna start bucking. And that's what y'all don't want, man. Keep it civilized. Give us what we want.
Thank you
Y'all
very
get
much.
what y'all want, give us what we want. I know my time up. I love y'all, man. FTF 1432, man. Feed the family, free the family, for the family. That's what I mean.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, Connie Burton. For over a decade, I've been coming. Some new faces, Miss Miranda and Dingfelder. Y'all new folks, they done heard it all before. And what I'm thinking about is that what Dr. King said, that if the voices of the unheard could be heard, we wouldn't be at this place that we're at now in this nation, because no one is listening. And now we're caught up in a crosswind that can't nobody put out the flames until we get justice. This is where we're at now, a demand for real justice all across the world. So no, it was not just George Floyd. It has been all of the George Floyds. It has been all of the Breonna Taylors. It has been all of our sons and daughters that is caught up in this justice system that is racist and unjust. It is the miseducation of our children. It is the gentrifying of our neighborhood. It's being denied employment. It is just looking at America now with pure disgust. And even looking at myself and my generation and say, why we didn't fight a little damn harder, so when we pass the baton to this next generation, they wouldn't be fighting the same damn battles. Now they're fighting the same battles, but they're not fighting it like we fought it. Oh no. Because you know why? They see our resolution was to not. That most time when we come down here, we get the same shit. Look at the agenda, and all of the agenda is already crafted to say that our community, once we leave these podiums, it's gonna be the same thing. Serious communication, serious change would mean that your department heads would not be doing the same old stuff over and over again. We've been coming to this city council saying, listen, we need, how can we make it clear, affordable housing? We don't use that word, workforce housing, don't use that word, low-income housing, don't use that word. We don't have no damn where to live. Where we live now, our young people are going to the county jail. That's becoming their place of residence. People now are living in hotels as if it's their apartments. We shouldn't have to live like that. And let me tell you something. I had hope one time. Sometimes you get caught up in things when people say the next great city, that means, you know what, people gonna change, but now you marching forward to holding the status quo. That even coming down in this area downtown is disgusting, because I know I got to take my grandchildren on the other side of the railroad track. We wanna see real resolutions, real resources. Your first 10 line items should be for the people. We want to see a refunding of money. Other mayors are doing it. People are doing it across this nation that want peace in their city. It ain't going to be no peace. We're gearing up. We're going to march all the way through the damn Super Bowl. Everyone is here to let America continue to know what Tampa is about. And so I'm hoping that when y'all get together, one-on-one, 4-4, however y'all meet, y'all think about how y'all can make changes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
My name's Angel D'Angelo, and I'm from Tampa, Florida. So 2 years ago, Restorative Justice Coalition met with Police Chief Dugan to talk about the tragic murder of Sidney Richardson, a black veteran with PTSD who was experiencing a psychotic episode and was shot and killed by Tampa Police Department at that time. We met with facts and figures, information, and community-based solutions, many of which you're hearing today. And Police Chief Dugan, within 10 minutes of that meeting, threw us out because he didn't want to be called a racist, a word we never said, although the proof is in the action. We have to reimagine what public safety is. Is public safety pulling over Arthur Green Jr. during a diabetic emergency and killing him in the same manner George Floyd was killed in 2014. Still no accountability to this day, 6 years later. Who was the police chief at that time? Jane Castor. Is public safety barging into Jason Westcott's home in 2014 in Seminole Heights, murdering him over less than $2 of cannabis you received from a bad informant, killing him in front of his boyfriend in his own home in Seminole Heights? Is that public safety? Is public safety running over DJ Weems with your police car to take out his life? Over what, property? Is that public safety? Is public safety enforcing a don't bring signs into my precious city council, but you still can't catch the man that tried to kill my friend Jay? This is not public safety. Your legacy, there are pivotal moments in this pitiful country's history. Civil rights movement, the Stonewall riots, anti-Vietnam. This is a pivotal moment. This is a point of no return. You have a legacy to make. Which part of the history book will you be on as a city council? Don't tell your grandchildren or great-grandchildren you were on the side of the justice side, because I will call them up personally and tell them what you did during this moment. Justice for everyone. Justice for the black community, healthcare, reparations. I'm talking transit. I'm talking good schools. I'm talking food for everybody. Food is a human right. 19% of the people in this city live in poverty. Is that public safety? 13% of the people in this city live without healthcare access, choosing between doctors and rent. Is that public safety? Cut the police budget. 62% of this budget is public safety. $172 million for Tampa Police Department when they can't even wear a mask. That's not public safety. Get these police officers defunded. Start solving some murders and missing persons cases and sexual battery. Protect women, protect trans women, protect black people, protect Latinos, protect the gay community. Stop harassing people. I witnessed a black man in Ybor on August 7th of last year going through a psychotic episode. He was houseless and he was Baker acted by 8 police officers and then charged with criminal offenses when he couldn't even really understand what was going on. Is that public safety? No, that's not public safety. So let's adjust this budget, defund the police, and get rid of Police Chief Dugan, get somebody with a temperament and some leadership into this city. And all of you can be removed from your positions. So let's go. Let's do something. What is your legacy going to be, City Council? Angel D'Angelo, thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Hi, everyone. My name is Bernice. I'm a resident of City of Tampa. I just want to take a second and show everyone my shoes, not because I think my shoes are just great. I came here in heels today, despite the fact that after I and hundreds of other people were attacked by Tampa Police Department, I ended up in the emergency room twice and have sprained my foot. And I'm in heels today because I want to let y'all know, even though you're trying to kill people, you're not going to kill me. we are not going to be the next black people that y'all kill. We have a police chief who is a liar. I was there when he tear gassed us. I was there when they shot rubber bullets on us. I'd be happy to show y'all the videos because they're on my phone. So how is he going to come out and say in a public way that tear gas was never used? And y'all are sitting around like it's business as usual? This is unacceptable. We're not going to be pacified. We're not going to be placated. We have had enough. In 1 week, I was tear gassed, held at gunpoint by Tampa Police Department when Jane Castor tried to disrupt a peaceful protest. Ended up in the emergency room, which I'm still thinking about sending her the bill. In 1 week. This is the level of violence and anti-blackness that the mayor's leadership has brought into our city, and we've had enough. It's not just the over-policing that kills black people. The effects of living under racism is literally killing us. The stress of living under racism is killing us. Y'all can see, and I'd be happy to share with you, there are peer-reviewed studies about how generational trauma impacts the DNA of black people. Y'all want to know why health outcomes are poorer for black people? Because y'all are killing us. We need Police Chief Dugan gone. He is a liar, his leadership is violent, and he needs to go. We need Tampa Police Department to be defunded and this money to be invested into black communities, not just the white neighborhoods or not just neighborhoods y'all are trying to gentrify. We need education investment. And I've got to say, I am shocked at the behavior of this city council when we were out there waiting for an hour to get into this meeting. And the meeting was supposed to start at 9 a.m. You are wasting people's time, and we are paying for it. No respect for the public, no respect for the taxpayers who are paying for y'all, who are paying for all the police officers here. This isn't the last meeting that we're gonna be at. We will be out there at 4 p.m. on Saturday. And we're gonna continue to speak up and to advocate for the police to be defunded, Dugan to resign, and Mayor Castor to resign.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Sadie, Tampa, Florida. I have the pleasure of working with the Restorative Justice Coalition and speaking with Brian Dugan over the past 4 years, asking for transparency. I just want to bring to your attention that the police chief was made aware that 26% of the population is black, but yet 54% of arrests are black people. This is a stat that still exists now. Do you think Brian Dugan knew this? Absolutely not. He kicked us out of his office, like D'Angelo mentioned, for calling him a racist. This is the same police chief that asked people of the community to come out and protect the police. With my tax dollars, this is what's wrong with our police department, and this is why we are asking to defund the police. We believe that no one is above the law, but TPD today exemplified that they are, by not wearing masks, by pushing over a woman who was wearing crutches, by not allowing people to bring in signs for no reason, and absolutely refusing to do anything about it when people were asking for supervisors, when people were asking for assistance. These are the issues, and I know this is hard for you all maybe to comprehend and understand, but these black voices are legitimate, and I really need you all to put yourself in the shoes of our community. I also want to call you out, Luis Vieira. How dare you support lynching victims and you do not defund the police and understand that black people are being lynched today? It's a joke. Do something. Exactly. Sydney, exactly, that says Sidney Richardson, Jason Westcott, Andrew Joseph, even though that was in Hillsborough County. There are so many young people who have been killed. Josiah Pinner, just last year, who was a child that was ran over by a TPD officer, and he kept going. No accountability. Jonas Joseph, just recently, a young man who was killed. It's pure hate. You all need not just to be not racist, you need to be anti-racist. And so what we are asking you to do is defund the police. Stop investing $6 million plus in parks and recreation and put it into the black community. Stop paying TPD or giving TPD a budget of over $120 million and invest in the black community. These black voices today are real, and just like these young people said, we will come for your seats, but not only that, we will replace you. So get with it. I yield my time.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
My name's Tay. I'm from Tampa, Florida. And honestly, everybody's already pleaded their case. And since you guys act like y'all can't do it, I just want to give you guys some solutions. So instead of directing all this funding into the police department or gentrifying our neighborhoods, we want it to be very clear when you spend this money that it's for the black community. We don't want diversity. We don't want stuff that we have to share. We don't, not even other POCs. We want to speak specifically to the black community. We want you guys to give us government contracts because we make up 22% of this population, but we don't even have a seat at the table. We want you guys to acknowledge the fact that this doesn't start when we're adults. It starts when we get up every day for school and we pledge allegiance to the flag. a flag that doesn't represent us and clearly doesn't care about our lives. You guys water down our history in school, and kids don't find out about what really happens to black people until we're in adulthood, and that's a problem. We want you guys to address the education. We want you to address the school-to-prison pipeline. We want you guys to stop privatizing prisons. We want to stop for-profit policing. We want to take away the quotas, because why do you need a quota to police people? We want you guys to take accountability. Like she said, we don't want you guys to just be not racist. We want you to be anti-racist. We want you to be vocal. We want you to call out your peers. We want you to call out everybody that's sitting up there next to y'all, because I know everybody up there is not for us. And we want y'all to call them out, because y'all work next to them. Y'all sit next to them every day, but y'all don't hold them accountable. I yield my time.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Derek Ford. I'm a resident here in Tampa, Florida. I just want to start by saying I'm disappointed to see Orlando Goose is not here, the only black city councilman. I guess the Rona guy, but you don't want to hear what we got to say. He's from East Tampa, apparently. He's homesick. How convenient. No. But I know it must be boring for all you guys.
Sir. No, sir. If I may, Councilman Goods has contracted coronavirus. He's protecting the people around him for not being here.
He chose the TPD side over the people. He's a black man from East Tampa. But I know it must be boring for you guys to hear all these black people to come up here to share their pain, and you just sit and listen, knowing you're not going to do anything about it. Because for me, my whole life, the police have been problematic. I could tell you many stories about how they profiled me and my family just for visiting my uncle, saying my dad looked like a suspect in the area when we don't even live in the area. Or as recent as we have a construction company, we're doing construction in Robles Park, and the police go agitate a group of boys and tell them that we called the police on them, and they're not even on our property, causing the issue with them and us, people in the community against us. And then we confront the cop in front of the people. She said, "Oh, I never said that." But if they would have did something to us, then she shoot them, it's justified. That's violence to me. And we here to talk about defunding the police, a word that y'all don't like, but y'all been defunding the inner cities in our schools, just so y'all can put us in the cycle to put us in jail so y'all can make the money and reap the benefits of it. How can Jane Castor care about our issues when she formed a TPD? She working for them. She ain't working in our interests, and we the ones vote for y'all. You feel me? So y'all should really listen, because if y'all don't, all we're gonna do is keep protesting and keep organizing, and we're gonna exercise our right to vote to get you out of here, to put people with our interests in. So remember that. And it's crazy to me that when the police, they harm somebody or kill somebody, they get rewarded with more money, like for tasers, or y'all call training, or body cams. That don't solve anything, because we film them every day on our cell phones and they get away with it. But the black people and the people of color in the city are victims of systemic racism. And the way y'all respond to us is by putting police and over policing us, instead of you saying, let's put more money in empower this community. Y'all want to keep us ignorant. Y'all want to keep us uneducated, because that work out for y'all. That's all I have to say. We need to defund the police by 50% and give that to the inner city communities. Let's empower these kids, because they the future. And tell Orlando Blues to stop hiding.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Council. Bishop Michelle B. Patty. I come first to thank Councilman Carson for shifting monies from the downtown area down to the blighted community. I come thanking the council for supporting that. However, I come asking for another vote this morning. I'm asking that this council vote today to tear down Fair Oaks and rebuild Fair Oaks. We deserve a world-class center for our youth. Our children deserve a better place to be able to play ball, to computers, whatever need be. This council have the power to do that. There's property right on 7th Avenue that I brought before the council that Darryl Shaw did not develop. he's negated his contract. This city needs to buy back that property. We have black developers that would develop that property for low-income people. So we keep saying we don't have resources. We have resources. And even at Fair Oaks, we want black folks to be the contractors on that job so that the community will feel that they have a invested interest in their community. It does no good when we put money in the community and the community do not reap any of the benefit. So it's time to move from talking, feeling good, all of that is time to do. We've been fighting this Fair Oaks battle for over a year or more, and it's still on the table. So if you're really serious about doing something for this community, let's start with that project, and then we can move on to the next. But if your intentions are just to say, howdy, howdy, duty, duty, and people gonna go away, that's not happening. The young folks, they're listening. They're ready to work. They're ready to fight. They don't want to do anything violent, but when they are pushed to that extreme, then you have that type of resistance. That's what's going on. What I seen today out in the lobby was appalling, but this council brought it on because you had public meeting without the public. How can you have a council meeting without the public? So they had them out in the lobby, and I'm glad I was there to witness this, and it was a way to fight your battle. That was not a battle to be fought this morning. They were out in the lobby. The lobby area, they should have been able to bring the signs and then told them then that they would not be able to be allowed into the meeting. So if we learn how to fight battles at the right time and the right day, we will not have the confusion and the chaos that took place this morning. I kept asking for a supervisor. I asked for the chairman. I asked for prevailing heads to come out. Didn't get it until it was over with, because what I didn't understand, why was this meeting different from the one that I came to before, when we were allowed to come in here, take our seats, and speak. So the time is up. The time is now to get things done. Stop procrastinating. Stop blowing smoke. Let's get it done. So I'm asking again that we make a motion today to tear down Fair Oaks and let's get it rebuilt. Give something back to the community. We deserve that. That's our tax dollars.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
My name is Joe. I'm from Sulphur Springs, Florida. I want to be clear that this does say don't Dugan, in case anyone's confused about that. To start off, I don't know how some of you can sit on affordable housing boards, can sit on the board of the heart system and education, knowing how little money you're approving for those systems. It's embarrassing. The transportation budget is 2% of our $1 billion budget this year. Have you been on the roads lately? Public transportation over the next 4 years is only expected to receive $150 million. The police received $163 million this year alone. And that's you guys. You guys set these budgets. You vote for this shit. 300,000 people. Yep. Money talks, and right now Mayor Castor and you guys are putting 1,000 police officers on a pedestal, and you're ignoring 400,000 citizens. You care more about these cops, you need to stop licking boots, and you need to start investing in this community. We need to defund the police and put this money back into the people that give you the tax money for these budgets, for your gentrification projects. Get your heads out of your asses and get back to work. I yield my time.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
I live like 15 minutes from here in Tampa. I live in a really nice neighborhood. And the neighborhoods are funded by tax money, right? Right? That's fair to say. Do the people who live in, let's say, a shittier part of Tampa, do they pay taxes with their jobs? Like, do jobs take tax money out of their paychecks? Because if so, where is that money going? Is it coming here? Is it coming to a city like this part of Tampa that doesn't need another dollar, another dime, another penny And I've been waiting in line, I've been here for a while, and like, I have to be honest. I don't feel y'all. Like, y'all are sitting here because you have to, because it's your job. You're getting paid to be here, I assume. It's part of the job, but y'all are not really listening. You don't really care. You're not, this is not something that matters to you. I heard two people, say that they've been coming to these meetings for 30 years and they haven't seen a change. What does that say to you? Not a whole lot, apparently. Like, you guys, I watched a person standing up for her rights, for our rights, get hit by a vehicle in broad fucking daylight. In front of how many people? I don't know. In the middle of Swan. I watched it happen. I got it on camera. Some people got the guy's license plate and they gave it to the police. And you know what the police did? Do you know what the police did? Sir, in the glasses. With the itch. Hey, yeah. Do you know what the police did? They did nothing. That man is still out on the loose, and my friend is on crutches in a boot. And the very thing that we are protesting, you guys say we can't bring a sign in here for. What kind of message does that send to us? What kind of message does that send to the people like the man who intentionally drove his car into a human being? That he's okay to do those things, that he's right, that we don't matter. And you guys will have their back because you have the cops' back, and the cops aren't gonna do anything about it. I know y'all don't care. I know y'all don't care. Y'all had that one black friend in college and you thought that was enough. And now, black people are just whining. And the Candace Owens and the Larry Elders and the Paris Denards are the black people that you can listen to, but everybody else, they don't know what they're talking about. Well, I will tell you this. We're in a phase right now in America that I like to call late stage capitalism. And if you guys don't get off of the train, it's gonna crash what you want it. Black Lives Matter.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Hey everybody. My name's Dana, if you don't know me. As public officials, it is your responsibility to learn the history of your systems. The police as an institution was created less than 200 years ago to protect the haves from the have-nots, the white people from the black people. They were called the slave patrol. And the 13th Amendment has an intentional loophole that incentivizes the jailing of people for for-profit prisons. Excuse me. Quick story. One day a friend of mine told me he was selling a phone and needed me to drop it off to the buyer. My friend was new in town, didn't have a car, so I was like, why not? I show up to this phone store, we plan to make the swap. I'm sitting there and all of a sudden this policeman walks in the door with a young man following close behind him. He comes over to me and says, you stole this man's phone? You're being arrested for extortion. I'm like, no, this is a misunderstanding. He cuffs me and throws me in the back of his car. I am crying, snot flying everywhere. I feel totally fucking dehumanized. And I was about to lose my job as well because I had to get to work. I am telling you this story because it is an experience I had when a police officer made me feel like a trapped animal. As I look at you guys on the city council, and I have spoken with you, but we've never been able to have this conversation. Have any of you been made to feel dehumanized and like a trapped animal by a police officer in your lives? Here's another recent example. I was at the protests, and a militarized Tampa Police Department showed up for literally no reason and started shooting people and macing people in the face right in front of me. My boyfriend was hit by beanbag rounds 9 times on his flesh. The welts are huge and purple and yellow, and I took him to TGH, and he has extremely painful intercostal tearing on his ribs. Thank you, Tampa Police Department. I know you guys like the police. Based on your personal experiences, you think they're necessary. I know it's hard to picture. I used to argue on your side, actually. But then I learned more, and I listened. We don't need the police. Studies show that we don't need them. History shows that we don't need them. We need mental health professionals as first responders. We need funding to our children, to our schools. We need public transportation and other public services. That's how we create a truly safe community, not by funding the police. So please, tell Mayor Castor that the people want the city to fire Chief Dugan. He said we don't come out until somebody dies. That's factually incorrect. Connie Burton has been at almost every one of these meetings. You guys know that. He said there was no tear gas. There was. On Sunday, May 31st, I was there. I have asthma. I was choking on tear gas. So was I. Dugan has not been doing a good job as far as the community is concerned. So please defund the police, demilitarize the police, give that money to the Black community to use for their own social services and their ability to actual self-determination. Maybe you're wondering what you can do as city council. Don't you guys have a say in the budget? Can't you write resolutions? Don't you fund and weigh in on specific programs? You can do it, guys. Listen to these people. Do something. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
My name is Fen. I'm a Tampa resident, and I've spent a decade working with kids in various settings. That includes child welfare and the classroom. I remember taking my kids from one job to safety demos and festivals and open houses in the city, places and with people I have been taught to associate with safety. Not so much for all of my kids. One event my kids particularly enjoy is the Touch a Truck Rally, which is a collection of city vehicles for fun and interaction earlier this year. One of these trucks this year was a riot vehicle. I watched my kids, of course, rush to that one, with a chance to take a look at the equipment they were flashing around, the weapons that were mounted, the officers being armed to the teeth. I remember thinking, that looks awfully expensive. That looks awfully unnecessary. That really shows my kids where the city's priorities are. That was around early March. The protest that my friend Dana was referring to on May 31st, over that last month, I saw that equipment used on my comrades in the city. At the beginning of June, or the end of May, in downtown Tampa, we saw one set of people dressed for a riot, and they sure as hell weren't the protesters. Can you take a guess? I don't know how you and your officers can hope to be a picture of safety, anything close to it, when you tell a bold-faced lie about your support of the community and then spend the rest of the time gaslighting the community about who the real bad guys are. One of many abuses against Black citizens in Tampa and everywhere else. I thought it was funny that outside of this room, quite a few of your officers were not wearing masks properly under order of the city. Just a drop in the ocean, a tiny example, I lost my place, hold on, of how they think they're above the law. But it occurred to me as someone who is privileged enough to grow up and see the police as a picture of safety, with the privilege of growing up in a neighborhood deemed safe enough, I'm standing here to say for those of us who share that privilege, it's a long time coming, way too long, but your mask is starting to slip. And you and your racist force are on a slippery slope, and it is our job to support Black people and lift them up and give them the funds and power they need to heal this community. You've heard it before dozens of times today. You're gonna hear it dozens more, and you're gonna hear it from me. Defund the police and give it back to the Black community. Let them heal without you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Hello, I'm Z Ramos. I'm at 401 West Kennedy Boulevard, Tampa, Florida. I've lived here almost my whole life, and on May 31st, I watched TPD officers in riot gear advance on unarmed community members unprovoked, and after shooting many of us with sublethal rubber bullets directly instead of at the ground, which is protocol, I watched a 12-year-old little girl get pepper sprayed directly in her face twice. She had a panic attack afterwards. And throughout the protests I've attended over the last few weeks, TPD officers have assaulted community members and targeted medics and children which violates the Geneva Convention as well as local protocol. For this and other reasons, I support an immediate resolution for the abolition of the Tampa Police Department, as well as all prisons and jails and ICE and CPB facilities, because black people are also immigrants, in order to reallocate those funds for things that actually end crime. Free housing, free public transport, free health care, inclusive education, food gardens throughout the city, green energy, and all the other things the community actually needs. We need TPD out of our streets, out of our homes, and especially out of our schools. I have a little brother, and I am tired of waiting to get a call that he was harassed or assaulted while trying to learn. Consider an article, Yes, We Mean Literally Abolish the Police, written by Maria Macava for the New York Times. It says we can't reform the police. Policing in the South emerged from the slave patrols in the 1700s and 1800s that caught and returned runaway enslaved people, the same ancestors of us, the ones that are being gentrified out of our communities right now. So when you see a police officer brutalizing a black person, he's doing as what he sees as his job, and you need to understand that that is part of the institution. And we are not abandoning our communities to violence when we ask to abolish the police. We don't want to just close these departments. We want to make them obsolete. We can build other ways of responding to harms in our society, community care workers, restorative justice models. And what about rape? Because the current approach hasn't ended it. In fact, most rapists never see the inside of a courtroom. And additionally, police officers themselves commit sexual assault alarmingly often. A study in 2010 found that the sexual misconduct was the second most frequently reported form of police misconduct. The Buffalo News found that an officer was caught for sexual misconduct every 5 days. I myself have been sexually and physically assaulted by TPD officers, by the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Department, and by public fascists that continuously get to roam these streets. And imagine how beautiful this city could look if we actually had diverse communities, if we had native species of plants and food forests. Imagine the people that would want to come here if protesters didn't have to be out in the streets every day begging for our lives, because we voted, we prayed, we sang, we marched. We've done everything for hundreds of years. What more do you want us to do? What more free labor do you want us to do? So abolish the police, refund our communities.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
So my name is Georgia. I'm going to keep it brief because I'm not going to just keep repeating what y'all have heard over and over again. Y'all should be paying attention. First, I want to say, until Brian Dugan is removed as Tampa's police chief, the community cannot and should not trust that the city officials actually intend to make change. I also want to make it explicitly clear that we are not asking for a reform of policy. We already know that doesn't work. We are demanding the immediate defunding of Tampa Police Department as the city moves towards complete abolishment. At the last meeting, Dugan threw a temper tantrum, and that's what it was. It was a temper tantrum. I've witnessed narcissists have temper tantrums. That's what it was. He said no one's giving constructive criticisms, but for the better part of this month, if not hundreds and thousands of people have been out in the streets and emailing city officials in your inboxes, emails, phone calls, listing ways to get accountability and alternatives to the way that situations have been being handled by the people sworn to protect the community. At this point, if you're still confused as to what needs to be done to make change, you are purposely staying ignorant. You are purposely ignoring the cries of the black community because they've been speaking truths and giving solutions for not just the last month, not just the last year or 5 years, but for hundreds of years. I yield my time.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Jarvis Elamine, I'm gonna say something. Really, are y'all serious or are you curious? That's the question. And the question is, it's an extreme situation here now. So we have to have an extreme solution. You know what you really could do if you're serious? De-annex Belmont Heights. De-annex and let us go. Self-govern. You can vote to say that whole CRA area, make that a city within itself. Call it Belmont Heights, Florida. Get our own mayor, our own police chief, our own city council that would listen, a police chief that would not be beating us up. Police would never, ever respect us. We need self-governance, self-determination. And for the black people here, if you think we can't govern ourselves, well, we've been governed by white people for 438 years. And what that got us. And so what we need to do now is talk about self-government. You look at the statute, you can vote to de-annex us. Just like one time New Tampa wanted to be annexed away from and want their own city. They start complaining, and then y'all put some money there so y'all can keep them. It's a $7 to $10 million tax base in that CR area. We can have that, and we can police ourselves. That way we don't need Dugan to go. Dugan can go with somebody else. Go ahead and do that, because police ain't gonna respect us. Now, even if you're an outstanding citizen, if you got dignity, they treat me the same way. They treat me the same way. My son got in some trouble, and I had a receipt that he was already been to court. They flipped me down in my house, in front of my house, flipped him down, took him to jail. And I said, made a complaint with Internal Affairs. Know how long my son was 14 now. 14 years ago. I have not heard from Internal Affairs. 14 years, no response. No response, Councilman. No response, Councilman. No response, Guido. No response. And we think we're going to get some justice from that police department? De-annex us. Let us start our own municipality. Let us have Belmont Heights, Florida. We have our chief of security. We make something else in it. We govern ourselves. Y'all, we control it. They ain't going to defund. Let me tell y'all young people, I love y'all. I like your passion. But they ain't finna defund no police department. You got a police as a mayor, and you got a police chief. It's not gonna be defunded. They won't even cut the budget by 10%. They definitely ain't finna abolish it. But if you want to do something, if you serious, Mr. Miranda, if y'all really serious, de-annex us. Take a vote and de-annex us and say, let y'all have that part of the city, run it yourself. Have our own cultural enrichment, we can do it for ourselves. Self-determination, self-governance. That's what we need. And I'm telling you, economic development, Black Business Bus Tour with Candy, we have all what we need for our own. Because y'all not going to be fair with us. Y'all not going to be fair, Lewis. Y'all not playing fair. I saw what happened in the day. What happened to the First Amendment rights to bring a sign in? What happened to that? And the police respond to that. Where the people skills at? They have no humanity. They jumped on people with wheelchairs. I'm gonna say this: if y'all serious or you're curious, that's the solution. I ain't coming with no just complaining, because what we're seeing now is the hate that hate produces. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Hello, my name is Graham, and I am a resident of Seminole Heights and a recent graduate of Howard W. Blake High School. Go Yellow Jackets. In less than 4 years in my time at Howard W. Blake High School, I have seen public housing communities be completely obliterated. Thousands of people who were born, who died there, who raised families, completely erased from the history and from the city of Tampa. And where are those people now? They're out in Palm River, they're out in Mango. Their needs are not being met. And on top of this, they can't even transport themselves into the city where their jobs still are and where their lives still remain. It is time we defund the police and invest back into those communities, giving money into that housing, giving money into transportation. It is time for reparations now, and that does not involve beautifying this city so you can tell other people who don't live here how great it is. I want the people of Tampa to believe it themselves how great this city actually is. And in the midst of all that has happened today in this meeting, of signs not being allowed, of cops not wearing masks, one cop had the audacity to say to people, to public citizens of Tampa, that he is not complicit in the murders of Black people in this country. He told a teacher that had just recently spoke to y'all that, aren't there child molesters in teaching, in education? So should we defund them too? Well, guess what? It's already defunded. And the education system wasn't meant to catch runaway slaves. It wasn't meant to kill people. It's not a few bad apples that are in this system. It is the entire system itself. It is time to dump Dugan. He is a liar. He is a child that throws temper tantrums. Dugan said himself that it's a shame that it took George Floyd to get us out here. But we aren't just out here because of George Floyd. We are out here because of Andrew Joseph III, of Jonas Joseph, of Sidney Richardson, Jason Westcott, Arthur Green. The list goes on, and that's only in the city of Tampa. I'm sorry it took George Floyd for you to start taking us seriously. And honestly, it's like talking to a brick wall. And I know nothing will get done here with you all in power, and that's why it's time for y'all to go, it's time for Dugan to go, and it's time for Jane Castor to go. I want to see a black trans woman leading District 2. I want to see a black disabled person leading District 5. And more black people need to be leading the city because they will actually represent this community and hear what they have to say. Because it sure is not coming from y'all, it is not coming from Dugan. And Jane Castor, she may be our mayor, and she may have just started being our mayor, but she never stops being a cop.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Hey, my name is Shivam Shukla. Less than 48 hours ago, I was in this room speaking before the review board, Dugan, and a couple of other cops. And I heard countless testimonies from black activists, people of color, and allies. So let me just start by saying this. If any of those officers in the room had a heart, they would have quit right on the spot after hearing 4 hours of what I heard. But instead, Dugan got on the mic, fought back the urge to say all lives matter, attacked us for not being thankful enough, used racist-coded dog whistles. He called us angry and told us to calm down. After sitting on his phone for 2 hours, he lectured us about hearing the other side. He told us that we need to change the way that we do things. You know what he did not say? He never said that his officers need to change. He never acknowledged our demands. He never said that black lives matter. Instead of having the dialogue he talked about, he ran away like a rat and refused to take any questions from the community that he supposedly protects and serves. I guess he was just that impatient to go back and commit war crimes with his department, shooting members of the press, gassing medics, using chemical weapons on innocent protesters, and on top of all that, lying about it. Dugan needs to go, he needs to resign, and he can feel free to take some of his officers with him. Mayor Castor has made it clear that she does not care about the well-being of her constituents. She loves to tear gas us, force us indoors with curfews that were only announced minutes before they take effect, and racially profile us. Now, don't think we don't know Castor and yours and Chief Dugan's goals. The reason they would rather oppress peaceful protesters is because they know our cause to defund them is to get them fired. These officers are not interested in defending Tampa or our people, they're interested in defending their checks. The fact that a cell phone camera offers better protection for my black brothers and sisters than your entire department should tell you everything you need to know about defunding and abolishing the Tampa Police Department. Our police force was not created to serve black Americans, it was created to patrol them and serve white ones. And also, what's with all the guns? I've seen pictures of Chief Dugan and cops at their police galas and their fundraisers wearing suits. But out here, they're in a room filled with black and brown people, and I guess they feel threatened enough to wear a full, their full entire nonsense. And for the future, since you're so abundantly clear that you have no idea what's going on in Tampa or you're what the people of Tampa want, maybe you should have these meetings when working people are done with their day, and instead of having them at 9 a.m. on a Thursday. And based off of your public statements, it seems most of you place capital and property over lives. You want to tell us how to protest. Let me just say this. You cannot oppress a population of people for 400 years and then expect them to fight back in a way that makes you feel all warm and comfortable on the inside. If you're tired of sitting here and listening to the people about racism, imagine how tired the people behind me are of experiencing it. To end with a quote, cops think of all non-cops as less than they are, stupid, weak, and evil. They dehumanize the people they were sworn to protect and desensitize themselves in order to do their job. And that's these TPD pigs to a T.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Michael Cardwell, St. Petersburg. Thank you, Councilman, for hearing us today. I hope you guys do, appreciate the magnitude of the times that we're in, and I hope that you're up for the challenges that we're facing. Whenever we see a police shooting, invariably in the comment sections, a soldier in the military will say, if I had done that, I would have been court-martialed. Call me crazy, but I think that citizens in our own society, in our own state, our own country, should have more rights than enemy combatants overseas. I do think that most men and women who take the blue, they have good intentions. It's not about good apples and bad apples, but a few bad apples do spoil the barrel. Rather though, power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. We've created a system where law enforcement have increased power, but they're held to a lower standard. In Polk County, a cop killer was shot 110 times because they ran out of bullets. But killer cops, they get a vacation. Right now, cops have to break into their downstairs neighbor's apartment, shoot him in his couch while she's off duty in order to be arrested for murdering someone. That's not right. Mayor Castor said that she hears us, and I hope she hears the exasperation in people's voices. People have said they've been coming here for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and nothing's changed. And this mask mandate is a perfect example of what people mean when they say defund the police. How great would it be if we had government officials giving out masks instead of $500 fines? Fund the police, defund the police, I don't care. I just want them to stop killing us with impunity. And in order for that to happen, governments must pass laws limiting how and when law enforcement can use force. Our soldiers can't fire unless fired upon. Why shouldn't law enforcement be held to the same standard? It's the thin blue line that separates us from anarchy. But we don't have a thin blue line, though. It's thick. It's suffocating us. We can't breathe, and I urge you to no longer insult the feelings of an exasperated people and do something about it. Out of respect for the other speakers, I yield my time.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Brooke Garrett, and I'm here on behalf of nearly 2,300 Tampa resident members of Food and Water Action and Food and Water Watch. We stand with the movement for Black lives and against racism and violence. We stand for the right of people to peacefully organize and protest without being shot with tear gas or rubber bullets. We demand justice for all people who have been brutalized and murdered at the hands of those who should be protecting them. We echo the demands of the Black Lives Matter movement for real transformation of a fundamentally corrupt and unjust system. Transformation that will hold law enforcement accountable for the violence they inflict. Transformation of this racist system that breeds corruption, and transformation that ensures Black folks are not left behind. The demands are simple. Defund police, end brutality, hold officers accountable for their actions, and invest in Black lives. We demand justice for Black communities that have been subject to institutionalized inequality that has come in way too many forms. All too often, militarized police forces are just unleashed on Black communities. And it's no surprise either, being that the economics that drove the creation of police forces were centered on the preservation of the slavery system, on chasing down runaways and preventing slave revolts. The police force was created not for public safety, but for preservation of a racist system. Public safety is 62% of this city's budget. However, public safety is defined by militarized police who keep some of us safe while using unnecessary lethal force against others. And nearly 1 out of every 5 Tampa residents is living in poverty. It's time to stop policing people for being poor, harassing houseless, Instead of investing in unnecessary force, why don't we invest in people? We should all be appalled that in the Tampa Bay Times this week it said, "Are you heading to a protest? How to protect your eyes from tear gas, pepper spray, and rubber bullets." That was in the paper, and I am appalled. We stand with Tampa communities in demanding a new set of priorities. We should rebuild, invest in our communities, especially Black communities that have been systematically brutalized. We should prosecute those who murder in the name of the law. We should invest in Black communities and adopt just policies that create true justice and equity. Organizing, mobilizing, reclaiming power. That is what those who helped build a racist and inequitable system fear most. And anyone's silence is violence. And we will not be silenced. I yield my time.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Lysandra Morales, and although I wish I could give you my personal radical thoughts, you can hear me later, by the way, I am here on behalf of the 30 organizations and countless individuals who make up the Tampa Bay Climate Alliance. The Tampa Bay Climate Alliance stands in solidarity with the movement for Black lives and protest against violence and systemic racism in our communities. We are a group of individuals, communities, and organizations who work for equity and resiliency in the 6 counties comprising Tampa Bay, with most of our membership here in Tampa. So my message matters, by the way. According to our vision statement, we envision a world where our private and public leaders prioritize the protection of both people and planet, and where solutions to remedy climate change lift up those, sorry, I'm emotional right now, that are most impacted and are rooted in racial and economic justice. At TBCA, we know there is no climate justice without motherfucking racial justice. The frontline communities of Black lives whom today rise against violence and bigotry are the same frontline communities who disproportionately bear the impacts of climate and environmental injustice, from pollution to storm response, from access to climate mitigation to higher risk for poor air quality driven diseases like coronavirus. In all of these, racism remains predominant. TBCA stands in solidarity with our Black community members who are fighting for the right to live. Just for the right to live. Instead of investing more in police officers who have brutalized Black communities far too long with broken window policing, we envision a society with more funds in healthcare, housing, mental health care services, restorative justice programs, and a society where we work together to alleviate the racially motivated undue burdens on Black communities from pollution, poverty, and police brutality. Overall, we stand with the demands for the movement for Black Lives Matter Tampa, Tampa Dream Defenders, Bay Area Dream Defenders, Stand Up for Racial Justice, and all those fighting for Black lives, like the list of demands you saw from the Tampa DSA. So please, please listen to the people with genuine intention to serve. And just give us what we want, man. We're not asking you, we're demanding it. Just open your hearts and minds and listen to the people out here who fought everything to stand on these fucking podiums while you're sitting back there. Please, just give us what we deserve. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Hi, my name is Taylor Walker. I'm a lifelong Tampa resident, born and raised. I have no intention of ever leaving. I love it here. I came out to say that I support a resolution for the complete and total abolition of the Tampa Police Department. They are beyond reform, and I believe we should reallocate all of their funds to free and affordable housing, free public transportation, healthcare, education, green energy, solar energy, and imagine how beautiful food gardens throughout the city and other community needs. The budget's way too huge for just the police. What are they doing? They're not helping anyone. I'm sorry, everyone already said that. But on Sunday afternoon, I witnessed a peaceful protester get hit by a car, and it was so horrifying. And then the following day, immediately after, Chief Dugan made a statement at a press conference saying, I need the good people who support the police to stand up and do something. If you're sitting in traffic, stand up and do something. Is that not what that person did when they ran over a protester? So immediately the next day we're going to give an outright approval of violence? Why is the police chief calling on citizens inciting violence? I'm just really, really concerned, and I think it's dangerous. And abolish the police. Please resign Dugan and Mayor Castor, and yeah, Black Lives Matter.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
My name is Andrew Collings. I'm a resident of Tampa. Someone about a year ago asked me a really important question that changed me. Does the economy serve the people, or do the people serve the economy? Right now in America, the stock market is trending upwards and up, even as employment and deaths are going up. Even as protesters are being attacked in the streets, even as black and brown people are being killed in their own streets. Right now, the people serve the economy. You just want order, but whose order? Whose safety? Whose economy? And how many people have to die to keep it? How many people have to be pushed out of their homes? The agenda when we came in here was already set before we even got here. You'd already decided to gentrify North Tampa without letting the community of North Tampa have a say in that matter. We had to sit out in the lobby. Whose economy is that? Whose order? How many protesters have to get maced, to be shot with rubber bullets, to be arrested? Whose order does that protect? So that's why we need to defund the police, to put that money into the neighborhoods, into childcare, schools, food, public transit. When I moved here, I was told not to trust the buses, not to trust any of the public transit, that you can't trust it, it doesn't run on time, it doesn't get anywhere. Think about all the people who need those buses to get to work, to get home from school. Like, whose order is that? Schools are planning to reopen in the fall in a global pandemic, and parents don't have any other options, don't have anywhere to send their kids. That's killing children. We are in the middle of a global pandemic. So what are the priorities? Actually, no, don't tell me your priorities. You show me your budget and I'll tell you your priorities. Right now, the priority is keeping someone's order, someone's peace. Ask yourself who, though. I think we know, and I think you know, and we'll see you at the ballot box.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Joshua. I'm a Sicilian, born and raised in Tampa, and I currently reside here. That would make me a straight white man. Probably a voice that you have not heard on this side of this nice blue line that you've set up separating us from you. But more importantly, I am actually a direct blood relative of many high-ranking police officers, both in TPD and in other departments throughout the local area. And I gotta tell you, my experience has been completely different from that of the black community, of the people of color, of the LGBT community, of the trans community, of really all these communities that have been, harmed by the police directly targeted and harmed by the police. And I founded a local nonprofit called Safe Exchange Tampa, which does harm reduction to help fight the ongoing opioid pandemic crisis. And in 2018, my group of 3 people overturned more overdoses than the entire Tampa Police Department of 1,000 people. What kind of shit is that? Right? What community are they serving? I've been to those barbecues. I've heard what the police say when they don't think no one is listening. I know how deep the racism runs and how deep the misogyny runs and how deep their views run. And it affects the way that they make their decisions. It affects the way that they treat people. It affects the violence that they bring into every situation. They respond to people addicted to drugs with guns. They shoot people that are having problems. And my family would be directly affected if you defunded the police, and I think you should fucking do it anyways. Because white families are not worth more than black families. Taxpayer money is going to exacting terror on our civilians. Taxpayer money, our money, my money, we the people's money that you have been elected. You have been elected to manage, for our safety, to be our leaders. What are you doing? Protect us. Do your goddamn job. What the fuck is wrong with you? The police chief is calling on civilians to confront people exercising their right to protest. I witnessed 24 hours. I witnessed a man run over a protester in the street for exercising her right to use her voice. And every single day that you put off action is going to be another day of rising tensions. It's going to be another day of building hatred of us, of me, of we the people, towards you, towards the establishment, towards the police, towards the mayor, towards this entire oppressive system that tears people down and tears families apart, ruins goddamn lives. Every day that you choose not to act is another day that God's guns and glory will not save you. I cede my time.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Hello, I'm Darius. I'm just a concerned citizen. I'm actually from Jacksonville, Florida. I'm not a native here of Tampa. So I kind of have what I would like to say, in my opinion, is an objective view of how y'all are doing. And so far, after just sitting in here, just looking, I don't know what you think, but it doesn't really feel like you're doing a good job. Quite frankly, this is probably as close as to a performance review that you probably get. I've been in a lot of performance reviews with a lot of jobs, and they scare me shitless. And that's because nobody wants to be told that they're doing a bad job, because you feel like you are doing a good job. However, there have been quite a few people coming up here saying that you guys aren't doing a good job, and you should kind of be embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. I don't even live here really, and I'm embarrassed for you. I'm not trying to criticize you or anything like that in a bad way, but the mayor, you know, I guess she has like hierarchy over you guys, sets an example. You guys put in a mandatory mask mandate. Everybody has to wear a mask. You guys represent us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gentlemen without a mask. You just said that gentleman right there is out because he actually got the coronavirus. I don't really understand why you probably feel like we're just complaining and saying that you're incompetent. You look incompetent. That's all I really have to say. Bye.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
I'm not sure I want to follow that. That was so good. Minister Dr. Rosasi Malema, representative for the Movement for Black Lives, New Black Panther Party in our path, the local group here. I'm not going to give you a civics lesson. I recognize that the Tampa City Council is not all of Hillsborough County. You don't control the most powerful law enforcement officer in this county, the sheriff. You don't control the school system. But you do have the power of influence in Tampa. So we're going to ask you to use your power of influence that you have to hear the demands of these young people. One of the things that has happened in this county, in this city, is that we have too often went to those groups that to give us a pacification of things that we've passed, i.e. the NAACP. Let me tell you how insidious that is. Just yesterday, that the NAACP met with the chiefs of police and the sheriffs, and of course agreed to some principles that were written down. That's wrong. The new movement are people that are under 35. So I'm going to ask you to use your influence and start to look at your advisory councils, for example, the Police Review Board, and start to look at some of the folks on that. Those are action items that you really can take as a city council, and start to look at some of those groups and make decisions differently. Begin to work with people who you are the most uncomfortable with. If you continue to work with those groups that simply give pacification and support disingenuous letters of solidarity, then you'll be back at this same position. The city council or through the police department just awarded $100,000 to a program called Safe and Sound. $300,000 of that comes from the sheriff's department. That's wrong. We don't want little boys, black boys and black girls, to have a comfortability with the police system. That's not a good thing. You can control that. It may be $100,000 in discretionary funding from the police department, but you control their budget. Those are some things that you can do right now. Why is it important to do it right now? Because we can no longer wait for these things to be actionable. The days of saying, on my 10-year plan, I have better actions that we're going to do things, can't do that. I'm not a Christian, but I follow the spirituality of God, Jehovah, Yahweh, and Allah. And one thing I do know, that the word now is mentioned 2,583 times in the Bible. If it is that important for the Creator to talk about now, how much more important is it for you? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Hi there. I believe a lot of people have said a lot of heartfelt things today having to do with the Tampa Police and the actions that have been going on here in the City Council. I do have to agree with them that with seeing you all here, you look like you're sitting so impartial, so disimpassioned about this whole thing. You're just sitting here like you have to be here today, and that's about it, and that nothing's going to change. Well, I want to say that some cities are actually doing things. I've been to a number of protests, and I have to admit, everything was really peaceful until the police showed up. There weren't people violent against one another. There weren't people violent against property. Not until the police showed up. Everything was fine up until then. So you gotta wonder what's wrong with this picture. And one of the main phrases that I came away with from the protest that I really have taken heart is silence is compliance. For every time you sit back and you see something that you go, you know, if I was actually in their shoes, would I have stood by for this? Would I have been outraged? And none of you are sitting in someone else's shoes for this. If you were, something would change. Now, a city that's actually done something. I don't know if you all have listened, but Seattle, they've had a problem the last few weeks because they've got this Chaz area, Capitol Hill area, that's been taken over by the people. I don't think Tampa should get to that point before someone actually listens to what the people want. But in the city of Seattle, just in this last week, let me read a news article that hit their paper. Seattle City Council votes to repeal 2 loitering laws. Now I bring this up because I know we've got laws very similar to this. And I know we do because these laws are racial biased. They allow the racial bias to be promoted because how could you have 1/5 of the population represent 4/5 of the prison population without racial bias? So you gotta think about this. So the City Council of Seattle voted unanimously Monday to repeal 2 laws over concerns about disproportionate impacts on Black and Indigenous people and other people of color. The City Council voted to remove the crime of drug traffic loitering and prostitution loitering from the city's criminal code. The first ordinance allows officers to arrest people merely suspected of soliciting drugs in public without even evidence of drugs being present. I know we've got laws like that because we've got so many people in jail here. The second allows people suspected of being sex workers to be arrested for loitering. This could be someone who's just, their bra strap showing, their skirt's too short, their top is too low, suspected for loitering for the purpose of prostitution. And then they end up in jail, and then they have to deal with the cash bail that we've got, and people who are already financially burdened and having difficulty in our society are then layered with arrest records that makes it to where even if they weren't doing that before, that might be the only form of income they've got to look forward to in the future. Thank you very much. Okay, so their article goes on, we know that loitering laws have a deep and harmful racist history, so these bills do offer an important first step. Council summary documents about the laws state that the crime of drug trafficking and loitering was added to the city's municipal code in '92 during the war on drugs. But this is to say that such laws have been shown to be disproportionate impact on communities of color are negatively impacted already vulnerable populations without improving public safety. If it's not improving public safety, why are there laws? Who are they benefiting? Who's being helped by being arrested? I mean, if you're talking about people who are loitering and we're going to put them away, we currently have laws that people for misdemeanors sit months to years just to be heard to be innocent. And proportionately, it's the people of color who are sitting there waiting. This article goes on, and I believe you all should actually read it, but it's a city that's actually doing something. Y'all are sitting there looking very dispassionate about this whole thing, like you're just waiting this out. We're back here waiting for you to actually find something you can do, that you are willing to do. Take some action. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Hey Charlie, how you doing? See you on your computer the whole time over there.
No, I'm
Yeah, right now you decided to look.
I don't have a
At least
computer.
your other colleagues are pretending to listen. That's good. So, on June 4th, 7 black elected officials, 4 state reps and 3 local reps published a letter demanding accountability for the Tampa Police Department's aggressive and dehumanizing tactics to disperse crowds of peaceful protesters. They specifically identified the May 30th protests at Cyrus Green, where police got spooked enough by a water bottle to spray tear gas and shoot rubber bullets. Right? Yup, and June 2nd, right here in downtown, among other human rights violations, a Tampa Bay Times journalist was pulled to the ground and tear gas. The letter continues to call on Mayor Castor and Chief Dugan to provide an accounting of the officers' actions, a report on corrective action TPD has taken, and an explanation to the community as to why TPD used force against protesters engaged in peaceful and lawful actions in the first place. In this same letter, the 7 black elected officials also brought up an incident from June 1st where officers used excessive force on an unarmed black man at Tampa General Hospital. Sadly, a very common occurrence. So on the meeting agenda today, item number 75 of 76 is to address the incident at Tampa General Hospital. We weren't even planning on talking about how peaceful protesters have been brutalized. Wasn't even on the agenda. So that means this council, Jane Castor and Brian Dugan, don't even listen to black people when they're fellow elected officials. Where are Jane and Brian to answer their fellow officials' questions? Senator Dale Rouston, Representative Diane Hart, Fentress Driscoll, Wenge Newton, County Commissioner Leslie Miller, your fellow city council person Orlando Gudez, and school board member Tamara Schamberger demanded accountability. You didn't listen. These people that have spoken today had to peacefully agitate just to get in this room. While they've been speaking, I've been watching y'all's faces. You look like you're just tolerating this inconvenience and can't wait to get back to your regularly scheduled agenda items where you can put some of our money in your own pockets, giving contracts to your cronies. Sorry if that makes you uncomfortable. Not really, though. Black people have to feel uncomfortable every day. White people need to sit with our discomfort and question how our thoughts and actions perpetuate inequity. To echo my sister from the Community Review Board meeting on Tuesday, I implore you all to read some Angela Davis. Start really listening to people who don't look like you. Learn something. Choose to be on the right side of history.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Okay, so my phone's dead, so I'm kind of going off the top of my head here, but I came to have an important conversation with you guys that needs to be had, quite frankly. As mentioned, you are all white, like me. We have benefited off of privilege, whether you recognize it or not. We have all been complicit in systematic racism, and you guys really need to think about that. After today, you don't have an excuse to continue to do that. You've heard the stories from the community. You've heard all of this, and you really need to think about it. I have lived in Tampa for 30 years, and one personal experience I can share with you is, as it's been mentioned, the school to prison pipeline. I went to HB Plant High School. 7.5% of the student population is black. 23% of in-school suspensions are black. 40% of out-of-school suspensions are black. Had they enforced rules the same for white and black students, I would not have gone to college. Let me tell you, I was not a good student. I broke just about every rule there was. I wouldn't have gone to college had they enforced rules the same, but they don't. And that's, I didn't realize that. I ignored racism for a very long time because we have privilege in our skin color, and we can do that. We can ignore racism, and it is not fair. And like I said, after today, you have no excuse to continue ignoring racism. You've heard all of the stories that there can possibly be, and you really need to marinate on how you're complicit in these institutions. I'm here to echo what everyone has said. I just wanted to share that one bit of my personal life experience in Tampa, Florida. Like someone else said, they mentioned going to Blake High School. I also went to Blake High School for a year. It's night and day. It really is. There's Army recruiters in Blake High School that are not in Plant High School. There's SAT prep at Plant High School that's not at Blake High School. And you guys know this, and you can realize this. You can rezone the district so that schools are funded equally. You can do things today. You could do it right now if you wanted to. It's simple. And you could really start changing things. And it only gets worse as people get older, as they've come in here today. And a really good place to start is that if you're moved by anything that I said and you weren't moved by things that other people said, you might be racist, okay? Like, you really need to think about that. And I'm here to echo, again, what everyone has said. Defund the police, defund Dugan, defund Castor. Start from scratch, guys. You need to do something or let someone else do it, okay? And get out of the way. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Ashley. I'm a resident and native of Tampa. If you haven't figured out the race thing by the end of today, I'm not going to help you with that. I'm here to talk about something a little different. I'm an independent photojournalist. I have no bias to speak of. Don't watch CNN, don't watch Fox. I don't really give a shit. I promise I'm not going to use any language, by the way, that TPD has not used to us as citizens, you know. So don't even worry about that. You may want to keep in mind how your city above you has been conducting itself. On June 4th, I believe it's a well-known incident where the Tampa Police Department attacked a peaceful protest. I was the first one to report it. It was in Creative Loafing, and it was with pictures, with everything, first one, and I said right then, if anybody calls this anything than an attack on a peaceful protest, unprovoked, it is full of shit. It is complete bullshit. And what does Tampa Police do? They don't even do anything. They send the city spokesperson to bitch on Facebook, like a 14-year-old, comments in the article section with their version of events, hashtag tell the whole truth at the end of their paragraph. Then what happens? TPD gets their body cam footage and some street cam footage. And what does it show? That exactly what I said was exactly what the fuck happened. I have the mayor calling me a liar as an independent journalist. It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. And I'm not going to tolerate it. And you know why? Because I went back out. I've been at how many, I don't know, has anyone here been to a protest yet? Has anyone here? You have. Excellent. Have you been?
4 of them.
Perfect. Then you?
2 of which this gentleman mentioned, and 1.
Excellent.
Where I saw this gentleman back here.
Great. No.
I was at those protests.
Excellent. That's what I want to hear.
Finally.
I've been at the front line of about 7 of these things now. Another one is where you may be familiar with the story that was aired on News Channel 8 about the old man who said he was attacked by protesters. I was just sitting in my car, and next thing you know, I just get attacked because, well, I don't know. Well, that was bullshit, and I had pictures to show that, and we ran a story, and we asked TPD, who finally reached out to us a week later after saying it's unfortunate that another one of these turned unlawful. It's ridiculous, and that your police are using social media and news outlets as their political platform to push their half of a story. That is not even remotely close to justice. It's actually the antithesis of our judicial system. Judge, jury, execution, they're telling Creative Loafing we need to run headlines that say you should run it as protesters attack police. Or no, I'm sorry, that was too generous. They said criminals attacking police. Last I checked, you're not a criminal until you're convicted of anything, first of all. So get your fucking house in order, respectfully, because it's ridiculous. I mean, what is it? Is this middle school? I respect you guys a hell of a lot more than that bullshit they're pulling online and running to the news and talking to people without getting the whole story. So by all means, whatever you guys can do within your power as this board, I urge you. Go ahead and let's start getting the whole story out there. So, because nothing is going to be rebuilt correctly unless we're all on the same fucking page. That's where we need to be. Thank you very much. I yield my time. Take care.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, sir, I would like to thank you very much for asking if any of us have been to a protest. Thank you. Yes, I've been to 4.
I know.
Thank you for asking that question.
I'm Farron Mobley again. Did you hold up a sign at the protest?
I held up my fist.
You held up your fist. What that meant to you? What the fist meant to you?
Power. Power to the people.
Power to the people.
Yes, sir.
All right, man.
Thank you very much.
Hey, man,
Have
real
you already
quick.
spoken?
Yeah, real quick, I just
Okay.
want to say, man, to reiterate what he was saying on the young lady that went through the car accident, I really think y'all need to get those posts taken down off of YouTube. Not only that, and the threatening to her life by TPD and the propaganda they put out there, you really need to really do something about that. The phone number and address was posted by TPD. You really have to act on that. Dugan got to do something. He don't do something, he got to be fired to get up out of there. The officer that pulled that gun out sideways like a gang member, like I was stating the other day, you got to do something about that right away. These what these people, or you going to start, y'all going to get the charge for inciting a riot because y'all ain't do nothing about it. Got to do something about this, man. This for real. People are really in a rage about this young lady being threatened by any and everybody because of a post TPD made.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. We are in recess now until 1:30. Thank you very much.